the pain away. The midnight beat. Reflections on the shiny glass, watching all the lifetimes pass. Nothing but the yellow lines, looking for the hidden signs. Keep the engine running deep while the restless city sleeps. Leave the broken world behind, chasing echoes in the night. Hold on. Drive into the midnight. Lost complete control. Shadows in the neon. Save my broken soul. Fall into the ocean. Wash the pain away. Save my broken
Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, broads, dames, and bros, welcome to the Midnight Drive with your three-armed host, your old pal, TikitheHutt. How are we doing tonight? Look at the chat, already alive, already awake, got the usual suspects, loving it. Glenn Lee, I love the trunk monkey comment, that cracked me up. I saw it like on one thing, but I didn't see it somewhere else. I think like YouTube tried to filter it out, which is kind of funny. I love that it doesn't like the term trunk monkey, makes me laugh. Hey, RK, send me, if you want to, send me a picture of your tray. I'm excited to see what your tray looks like for your competition this weekend. Best of luck. Cosmic, what's going on, man? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, Cosmic, as always. So, y'all are in for a, I like to think, without sounding too arrogant, of course, I think you're in for a treat. I was lucky enough to snag this off eBay. I think I talked about it last stream too. I have the artifact. Yes, that's right. You recognize this. And look at the year. Oh, let me turn around so you can see the year. Oh, there it is. 2017, baby. These, ladies and gentlemen, ladies, broads, dames, and bros, is Push Fit Models. In the ominous dominus year of our four-armed emperor 2025, I have Push Fit Guardsmen. Yes! Perfection. If you've never seen what they look like, oh boy. Here they are, in all their glory. Darn near pretty monoposed. He looks like he's doing the airborne shuffle, or I should say the grab shoot shuffle, you know? Regular Acadian style. Acadian pattern blast gun, spare power cell, two officer eliminators, and a little like pouch for, you know, chow or souvenirs or possible chaos artifacts that'll corrupt him and his buddies later down the line. You know, a little column A, little column B. The scale is dead on perfect. You cannot beat Push Fit Guardsman. So, for those who weren't around for that time, I don't know about anybody else, but when I was starting out with Warhammer, I don't want to spend, I don't know, it was still, it seemed still expensive. I know the prices, even with inflation, are probably not the same as now. But at the time, you know, shit's still expensive. So these were a great way, like you pop into the shop to kind of look around, look at some new releases, you know, look down at like a whole Chimera, like, oh, I don't know if I want to get a whole Chimera, like, oh man, that's kind of expensive. You're like looking around, you're like, oh, I'll grab, I'm low on paint, let me grab some ultramarine blue, and you see these up by the counter, you're like, oh, well, okay, if I must, like, let me indulge myself, let me buy 5 boys in a box, you know. Hey, what's going on, Jenny? Oh shit, yeah. I said 2025. Good catch. It's 2026. Jesus, I lost a whole year. It's the time zones, I promise. Hey, what's going on, Despots? But yeah, we have Push Fit Guardsmen. What a great way to fill out our ranks of neophytes. I mean, I really do like my hive gangers and stuff like that, but I do like these style of just neophytes for just like the ones that have hybrid firearms. I think it's a very good. First off, fits the pattern well. You know, tan boots, blue body glove, black armor, leather jacket, white pauldrons. And for the heads, I have a bunch of spare mohawk heads and a couple other ones out there too. So this should be kind of cool. We're gonna have some that have these hoods and gas masks, some that don't. My goal is to not replace every neophyte style model, but to try and make them not look too obviously like Gene Stealers, you know? Obviously, you can't really hide this, you know? But tis what it is. Yeah, and like I said, with these, I can't remember the price of what it was. I think it had to be like 10 or 15 bucks maybe. It was no more than 10 or 15 bucks to walk out with a box of 5 guardsmen. And that's back when I think Cadian squads came with like the full 20, you know? So, yeah, that was quite an easy little like last minute, like spoil yourself. We'll keep this right here by the register. And I've always said and I've always thought, I think push fit battle line models is the best way for GW to... They'll never be able to beat or replace 3D printing, but they can appeal to our laziness. And they can appeal to our low willpower. You know, so if you have these right there by the cash register, not just in a GW store, but, you know, branch out at other hobby places or things like that. You know, tell them to keep these right by the register. You'll be selling these things out like hotcakes. You want to be able to keep them in stock. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to worry about, like, scalpers. You're going to worry about that shit anyways, you know? But imagine if every army's battle line had a box that was price appropriate. So let's pump it up to 20 bucks. It sucks, but to be fair, 20 bucks. So now you're paying like I don't know, 4 bucks a guardsman for this. So a box of 5, that's 4 bucks a guardsman. That still ain't cheap, but when you see how easy these go together, you're like, it's super awesome. Because then when you buy the value in these, where a lot of people misunderstand, so the value in these boxes, yeah, they come with 5 guys, but what it is, when you kit bash smartly, when you use like economy of bits or economy of sprue, there's your term for the day, economy of bits or economy of sprue. So you would buy a box of Catachan or Cadian infantry, Catachan infantry, or even Cadian command squad. That was always where some good money was, because you got a lot of special weapons there. So you buy your Cadian command squad. Or if you want to be clever, you get that from like a 3D printed or proxy from like Etsy. So that way you're already knocking off like 10 or 20 bucks, right? I want to say like the Wargaming Atlantic has their Grognards, right? So you have Grognard, heavy weapons, and command sprue, and then you go and you buy these Cadians to supplement the ranks of the actual squad. Because this way you already have 10 guys, and that way all you gotta do is find something that kind of looks like a grenade launcher, which you can kind of kit bash. You know, or kit bash some plasma guns or meta guns, and literally just glue that right on their back, you know. Or you can, that's the other thing, kit bashing these monoposes is kind of hard. You can replace the head easy, but replacing anything else like on the chest, very difficult, because you'll see why. If you haven't seen what they look like, let me show you. So this is what they look like without the other piece. So one piece goes onto the base, and then he looks like this. He's got a hole in his chest, you know, future foreshadowing. So he's got a hole right in his chest, and he's missing his arm and the other part where it connects to his hands. So literally, all you have to do is just glue this. You have to glue 2 spots and you're done. So it's really hard to kit bash their, it's not impossible, I've done it, but it's hard to kit bash their weapon, because it's going to have like a hole in his chest and mess up his hands. But you can always glue a weapon on his back. You know what I mean? So what you do is you use like 2 boxes of these guys to build up the majority of your squads, and then add in a few special weapons here and there by getting some bits online or shopping elsewhere. And that's how you're able to build up your squad cheaply. I know I'm saying this, you're like, well, that's great, Tiki, you asshole, but these aren't around anymore, and you bought the box that was on eBay. Fair. Very fair. I regret nothing. I saw it, and I was gonna advertise, like, hey, this would be great for, I was like, no, you know, forget this. I need bodies too, you know? I'm a real person too sometimes, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and snag this. The guy was super nice, you know. I think I offered him like $2. I either bought it outright or I think I offered like $2 less than what he was selling it for. I can't remember. And he sold it immediately. And he even messaged me, you know, hey, it looks like it got there. Is everything there? I was like, yep, all 10 guys. Thank you. All right. So I thought I would show those off. I would build them on stream, but I'm telling you, it like 2 seconds, Turkish. That's all it is. Yeah, you take this part. You slot the guy back in. The guy slot it in. You usually have to like trim it just a little bit to fit in there. Hold on. Yeah, usually you just gotta trim the arm a little bit, trim that thing that goes in there just a little bit, and it push and it fits right in, and you got a guardsman. Like 2 seconds, a little bit of super glue, done. Guardsman. Now here's why these would sell. I know GW doesn't watch the stream as little as mine, and that's fine. Anyone who's built the new Cadians. Sweet lord, like these guys are perfectly easy and fine to build. Hold on. If anyone has built these guys, super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? Legs, torso, head, arms. It works. It's worked for years. It's always worked. Talk to Warlord Games, talk to Wargame Atlantics. That's the same reason how they have their plastic, and it's nice. It allows kit bashing. It's great. Legs. These ones even have legs and body in one sprue. Even better, right? So legs and body in one sprue. You have head, you have arms, and that's it. Super easy, barely any inconvenience. You can kit bash, right? Now, do they look more dynamic? Yes. Do they have some cooler like sprues and stuff like that? Yes. Are they a pain in the ass to build? Yes. So much. But everybody hobbies differently. So if you really like the sculpt of these new Cadians, like if that's really your bag, that's perfectly fine. I get it. I'm just saying I think they're wildly more difficult than they probably should be. So these are obviously the Brood Brother kill team, which is basically a box of 10 Cadians with some Gene Stealer upgrade bits. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell them. I was like, look, you're just making 1 point towards people buying 3D printed models. When you make these things expensive and difficult to build, like, one or the other, you know? You're kind of shooting yourself in your metaphorical foot, but I don't run a business, so to be fair, what the hell do I know? What I do know is that I want to paint some models on our road to 2000. I am actually working on some terrain. Speaking of terrain, I know some people are like wildly against it, which I don't judge, but people are like against Amazon. I like Amazon. I think you can find good, cheap, multi-game terrain on Amazon that I like, because I don't 3D print. Not of any moral sense, I just don't have time for it, right? So luckily this terrain went on sale for super cheap. Which nothing fancy about it. It's just literally building. This is just the primer. I'm gonna do a texture paint on it and then pick out the windows and the wood and the pipes. But these are actually pretty cool, you know? And again, let me grab my super cool Gene Stealer Cult measuring stick. That's more than 2 inches up, you know? And that'll be about 6 inches up if you're on the rooftop. What's cool about these is you get 2 of them, you can kind of put them a catty corner of each other and you have a legit piece of terrain. So this brings up a question I have. People's been asking me about terrain for 11th edition. Don't you love modeling? You should love more parts per model than less. I see your point. I see your point, Francois. And it's actually a very valid point. Well done, you know, touche. But the point is just because these have more bits doesn't mean they're easier to kit bash. So do I like modeling? Let me further define that. You know, it's a very valid point, but I enjoy kit bashing. I enjoy making models my own. Is a good example here. Oh, let me grab my last gun chick. So if you look really closely, it isn't just that I enjoy modeling, but if you look, her head is from a come on, focus camera. Let it get in focus. Sorry about that. So her head is from a Wargame Atlantic Agents box. So she has kind of like loose hair with sunglasses on, very very Necromunda Vice. She has a las cannon, and she's also packing the sleeve and the arm and a what looks like a stub revolver from the Hive Scum box. So there's 3 different boxes that went into building this Chicky Pea here with a mining laser. That's the kind of modeling I like, where there's more almost interchangeability like Legos. I wouldn't want to buy a Lego kit that was built differently than other Lego kits, no matter how cool it looked or how many parts it came with. If it was super bizarre, you know, and it wasn't compatible with other Lego kits, I wouldn't be as interested in spending money on it, if that makes sense. I do enjoy modeling, and I enjoy models that tell visual stories, so yeah, without being hypocritical, I do like the bits. That's why I picked up an extra Brood Brother sprue on eBay without the Cadians. I bought literally just the Brood Brother extension parts. And if you notice, if you look at this guy, this is the icon bearer for the Brood Brother team. And so I got that sprue that just had the Gene Stealer Brood Brother parts, and I was able to use those bits and other non-GW models. Here's another female cannon fodder head. That is a Gene Stealer Brood Brother Kill Team sprue arm with knife, and another sprue arm with the Cult Icon, and then that is a Mad Robot Miniatures pistol grip pump shotgun on the back. I see what you're saying, but it's not. They're actually not necessarily more parts. When you look at the instructions to build the Cadians, it's almost the same amount of parts, but they don't go together the same way. It's not like, hey, glue the torso onto the legs and glue the arms onto the torso and glue a head that you like. The heads are interchangeable, but the way the bodies contort. Let's see if I can find. Oh, here you go. Here's a guy running. So the way the body contorts, the torso and legs are not interchangeable at all. You can only build this guy one way. And the reason why I know this, I think it might be available online. I don't know if GW hides their instructions, but if you look up the instructions to build the Cadians, or particularly like the Brood Brother kill team, there's only certain ways you can build them. Unless you do some extreme kit bashing like I did on some of these guys, you'll see some of the weapons don't quite match, because they're like, hey, you can either build this model who's running as either a shotgunner or as a flamer, because those are the only 2 positions that the equipment will fit to. You can't build any of the positions technically as a flamer, because a lot of times they come with the backpack already attached. So I see what you're saying. It looks like more bits, more fun, you know. That's a funny statement to clip. More bits, more fun. But it looks like more bits, more fun, but it's actually, by making it more detailed, they've made it more limited, ironically enough. But no, it was a. Please don't feel. Oh, there you go. Right, no way to really change the build. So why isn't the torso and legs just one piece? More parts, more fun. Yeah. So you brought up a very good point. And it was a very valid point, but that's just my opinion on it. Like I enjoy. It sounds like a cliche term, but I enjoy more modularity in my models. I enjoy more interchanging bits, but that's my style. As you guys can tell, and I'm not just saying this for like brownie points, I'm not the best painter. Like my stuff looks okay like 3 feet away. Up close is a bit scary, you know? Like, you know, like last call at a bar kind of scary. You know, you're not going to look too closely until the next day. So 3 feet away, it's not bad. But I like to do a lot of my storytelling, not through painting, but by modeling and making like custom sculpts. And I do that with more modular parts. But that's also why, and not just value, that's also why I like Wargaming Atlantic over GW sculpts. Because I feel like I'm able to kind of get a little bit more customization in there. Because a lot of times you'll see stuff like this. Actually, yeah, this is another good example. This was a 3D printed model. You know, that's the pose she came in. I chopped off her hand and added an auto pistol. And I put a grenade launcher on her back, you know? Same thing, you got this over here. This guy came with neither one of these weapons. I just started chopping hands off. I started chopping hands off and putting on actual auto pistols, shock mauls. You know, there's an ammo pouch right there on his chest. But, yeah, overall, I said if you are looking to get into Gene Stealer Cold, if you're able to get that Gene Stealer Brood Brother extension to the kill team, man, that's a great thing for bits. All right, so let's get into the what we're doing today. I think what we're doing today, same thing. I need to rebase this, but I'll do it on my own time. It takes a long time, and a lot of it's off camera because it's a knife, so I'll take care of that. But I think what we can do is we'll base a Hellhound tank while we paint some infantry. So I gotta paint another model, so I think we're gonna paint I think we'll paint another. These are my neophyte leaders. So to me, they're like enforcer sergeants or like enforcers. They have like the leather jackets, the auto pistols, and stuff like that. So we'll paint her while we prime a Hellhound tank. As soon as the Hellhound tank is fully primed, then we'll start painting the Hellhounds. All right. Oh, I totally get you, Francois. The one thing I will say, if you do like more parts, I do like, one thing I will, the points, this is a point towards Warlord games. They've actually been a lot better about including what we would call like special weapons on the sprue. That's really cool. Like when you get a sprue for, I'll speak to what I know about. When you get a sprue about the Empire of Japan or the Imperial Japanese Army, it's not just like, hey, here's some rifles, here's a sword and a pistol for an officer, and good luck. You're like, no, here are your poles for either a lunge mine or a flag. Here's multiple machine guns. Hey, here's a heavy machine gun. You know, here's multiple, or here's a sniper rifle or two. Here's some light mortars, or what's a misnomer as knee mortar. You know, here's this, here's that. They give you all sorts of special weapons right there on the sprue. You're like, oh my god, I can build so much with this. Okay, cool. And another good one is, I always recommend this to people, especially if you're building like a lesser known army in World War II, or if you're looking for kind of like more interwar parts. Look at Wargame Atlantic's World War I Great War French. Especially if you're doing like a colonial style army. So if you're doing like anything from Egyptian, like North African, at the time French Indochina, even like South American or Caribbean or something like that. I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff. Or we're doing like Spanish Civil War. The French World War One box has so many good bits, so much extra. They give you enough to build the guys like 4 or 5 times over with a whole bunch of heads and equipment options. It's insane. It really builds that value. Alright, so let me see if I can back this big old Bertha. Alright, so this is our Hellhounds. So we got the flaming back. We got a little bit of battle damage from putting on the treads. It always snaps the back part off. I'm not that worried about it. We got, I like mine with heavy bolters in the front. And it's got the Inferno cannon, and it's got a Hunter Killer on the side. So just like our other tank, I think we're going to pick out this back panel for our friend or foe purple. So we're going to do that panel purple, and we're going to do that panel purple on the other side. For the front, I think we're going to do like maybe this middle stripe right here. Either this middle stripe right here, or possibly the 2 hatches right here. I think maybe we'll do the hatches. Yeah, I think the hatches would be kind of cooler. We'll do these 2 hatches purple. We have those 2 panels purple. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do on the back. I don't know. I may do the center line purple right here, maybe. Yeah. That way, when you see it from the back, you see the purple stripe. You see it from the side, you see the purple hatches there. And then these hatches will cover not only from the fronts, but also from the top. Maybe. I don't know. Seems risky. I think they'll give you the boot. I think they'll be like, hey, don't use our terrain to play bolt action. But I will say this: if you go to a Despots, if you go to a normal store, I have a really good one here in the state that I live in Florida. I have Warfire Games. Not a sponsor, just a huge fan. I go there all the time. I love that place. The best game of Conflict, one of the best games of Conflict 47 I ever played was at Warfire Games on a Mordheim table. Holy four-armed emperor, it was amazing. We actually did legitimate 4-dimensional urban combat. Like, it was a Mordheim table that even had like a cavern underneath the city and stuff like that. So I was all set up as Imperial Japanese, and I told him to bring like whatever list he wanted to play for the Soviets. So he brought a Mammoth Walker and a Mastodon Walker. And then I think he brought some like Mark 1 power suits. So my goal was just, it was kind of like that Halo mission where you're just trying to like stop the Scarab, but obviously I couldn't stop the Scarab. So my job was to try and like ambush him and like not let him walk off the table. I took out some infantry and I did some damage on his walkers, but I couldn't stop him. So it was basically an impossible mission going forward, but it was one of the best games I ever played because I knew the mission was almost impossible. It almost felt like an Alamo or a Thermopylae. Like, I didn't care. That was going to be glorious. So, you know, I stacked my tanks all throughout the ruins. I had troops, I had snipers everywhere, I had air observers, I had riflemen, and I had my zombies like hidden underground and stuff like that. So when he tried to like send his, because he had power suits and he had daughters, so he tried to send his like daughters through the underground to pop up inside and take out my guys from underneath. They ran right into zombies on ambush and like literally ate his daughters underground. It was so fucking cool. Meanwhile, I had like, my snipers were picking off guys left and right. Actually, they missed a lot. My several snipers, I won't lie. I think they only killed someone on 2 turns out of 5. They missed like 3 times. And they hit on 2s, so that's terrible. But my tanks, because they're all hidden, so I'd activate 1 per turn to shoot, you know. And I hit him, he'd turn around to absolutely blast my tanks. They only had medium AT guns. So all I was doing was just like a little bit of damage, but each turn just trying to slow him down, pin him. You know, it was great. His huge Mastodon walkers like climbed over the walls of this like Mordheim Citadel City thing, and then some like power armor guys came up behind it. He had some more daughters. They ran smack along into my infantry squads. I paid at the time to have like IJ paratroopers with like Tough Fighter. So when they ran into there, like my guys could actually fight, and more importantly, my NCOs with their power katanas could actually do a little bit of damage to his heavy walkers. So I kept trying to just tie him up in combat. But if you were trying to fight a walker in 2nd edition Comic 47, it's not going to go well. But you see, I'm sitting here talking about it. It was an unfair battle. The terrain was unfair, very one-sided, but it was glorious. I want to say we were hooting and hollering to the point where I think his name's Mikey and a few other guys, the owners of Warfire, came by like, "What are you guys doing?" I was like, "Dude, we're having so much fun." He's like, "Are you playing that on a wartime board?" We're like, "Yes." Like, "Oh, that's awesome," you know. And I just kept looking by like, "Oh, this is Conflict 47. Oh, that's kind of cool," you know. It was a lot of fun, and one of my goals is to play bolt action on a TT Combat Carnivale board. If you don't know what Carnivale is, it's like a skirmish version of Mordheim with like different gangs, but you fight in Venice in like the Renaissance. It has the aesthetics of Trench Crusade kind of, but set in the Renaissance, and you fight on the rooftops and the streets and the water. It's really cool. Oh yeah. The usually my supportal snipers do really well. I call it my promotion board. They usually out there just dropping Firefly NCOs and officers like it's going out of style. He was Soviet, so he had the dubstep wub wub effect, and that thing was a huge pain in the ass. That is an obnoxious army ability. I will say, I was not a fan of that thing. But it felt unfair in the best way I've ever played. And so that kind of leans into my whole thing about 40k Chillwave. Don't be afraid to do an unfair game. I want to say like a couple streams ago, we had Brady on here, and he was talking about how he played another buddy of ours called Neil. And they had one of the games they pulled in our crusade where Brady started, I think, like in the middle of the table, and he had to try to make it off the table while Neil chased him. So Brady was playing, I want to say like Ultramarines at the time, I think, or some kind of Space Marine, and Neil was like World Eaters. So this was like right up his alley. Like I'm gonna run him down and fuck his shit up. Meanwhile, Brady's like trying to basically leapfrog back with his tanks and cover himself. That was a lot. I think missions like that sometimes can be fun, where you know it's impossible, but that's the bag. Like that's the game. The cool thing about that, I'm gonna be honest, maybe it's my own mind frame, but to me it takes the stress out of the game. Not that any game is necessarily stressful. Some people like the light stress of a competitive game, like, hey, I gotta make sure if I waste a move, like I've seen it where people will call a game in the second turn because like, hey, there's no way I can catch up, or hey, my models are out of position, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. That's fine. It's their own free time. They can do what they want, you know. No judgment. That's all. That's you do you, boo. But you know, in this type of game where you know you're likely set up to fail, you're like, let's roll the dice and see what happens, you know. Stranger things have happened. The dice gods betray us all. You can pull out some absolutely awesome last stand moments. I want to say playing with Trooper 2201 and Irish when we did our first attack on Malta. We demanded an honor duel between, I think Trooper brought like a Mad Jack style model, you know, the British guy who did D-Day with a longbow and a claymore and a kilt. And so I brought my Japanese officer to go meet him. Like we refused to shoot at each other with small arms. We literally let our officer teams meet in melee combat, and I just barely killed his. Like I'm talking, it came closer than I wanted it to. But then as soon as that was done, just absolute all hell opened up on the street with submachine guns and rifles. Everybody got cut down. The power is yours, and I see this weird juxtaposition where people will simultaneously not like GW or not trust GW for their updates and their data sheets and stuff like that, which I totally get. I think it's viable, very understandable. Like, hey, please, if you're gonna sell me a game, please stop dicking with my game. You know, it's not an online game. It doesn't need patches all the time. Like, please stop screwing with my shit. But at the same point in time, you have the books, you have the power, and more importantly, you don't always have to play by their rules. It's almost like, and we used to say this a lot in the D&D community. Like, people would like not like some of the modules put out, like, oh, I don't like Ghost Salt Marsh because I feel like it's very handholdy for the party. I was like, you're the DM, just change it. Like, What do you mean handhold? Just don't give him the letter. Make him go find it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like playing like Morrowind versus Oblivion versus Skyrim. Be like, nah, man, just take off. Put where it is in a letter in a book, and take away the little HUD icon, and make them find it. You know, or as they use in video game parlay, like no yellow paint on where they're supposed to jump. Have them find it. You know, you are able to control your experience. You don't have to go, as long as your opponent's okay with it, and that's always the biggest thing. Never hoodwink or trick your opponent into playing the way that you want to play. As long as you guys talk ahead of time, you're both agree to it, and you're both going to enjoy your off-duty time. Because again, I don't, in the realm that I am, you guys know I do this as a hobby. I don't do this professionally. I would not be very good at it. I don't do it competitively. Again, I'm not very good at it. You know, so I stay in my hobby / narrative niche. So for me, it's my off-duty time, which I greatly value. So if I'm going to be spending my off-duty time, you're going to be spending your off-duty time, let's make sure we agree on it ahead of time. But once we agree on that, we can do whatever we want. And sometimes that's where a lot of fun comes from. So the same thing, I hear a lot of talk about 7th. 7th was kind of cool when you played narrative. Now, when you're running up against, and I remember the Invisible Death Stars, for me, it was particularly the Grey Knights and the Space Wolves. And I think like Thousand Suns, there was some warp fuckery around there. Those were rough to fight against. I did that like once or twice where I'm like, this isn't very much fun. So I usually stuck to playing the same guys. One guy brought guard a lot. One dude had an insane amount of orcs. So I felt like we were always doing apocalypse style games. This is back when you could play in a GW store, and they encouraged it. So we would do like apocalypse level games. Hey, Damned Legion Shorts, happy birthday, brother. I'm not sure if it's the same day where you are, but if it is, happy birthday. So the GW store would let us do apocalypse games in the shop, and we would have hordes of orcs versus like an actual combined arms of Imperial Guard. And it didn't matter who won. It was just absolute mayhem, just picking models up by the handful, chuckling and laughing. And it's not the only way to play 40k. It's a fun way to play 40k, which I always recommend. All right. So I get over here. I can sit here and chit in or chat. Nice. One day closer to joining the Star Child. Don't worry. The Ascension Day is nigh on your planet. It'll be there soon. All right. So, anyways, we're going to prime our Hellhounds. But I'm also kind of torn. So should I do the this main tank red, and then his other tanks yellow? Or should I do this like tank silver and do these like red? I'm kind of confused on the best way to run it. I'm thinking about doing these silver. I'm not entirely sure. $48, not a bad number. I don't know. I think I'm at my mid to late 30s. I think late 30s. I don't even know anymore. After 25, you just kind of like stop counting. Doesn't really do anything. So what do you guys think in the chat? So because I'm not going to buy a bunch of different these. I have 3. I'm going to stick with 3. And I'd like to maybe run them as Bane Wolves every now and then. So should I do the tank in the back silver? And then do all the other tanks red? That way I can run it as a Hellhound or a Bane Wolf or what have you. Or should I do the main tech red, do the other tanks yellow, and just keep it as a Hellhound? I'll let you guys know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Debate it out. But yeah, it's definitely a paint chat. Don't worry, we will paint. I know we're already like, what are we? We're already a few minutes in here. So there will be some paint in the paint and chat. It's like, are there any dinosaurs in the dinosaur tour? But I definitely do like the chatting parts. I do like chitting and chatting, and tank is tank, man. Just paint it purple. Neon colors could be anything in those tanks. Yeah, that's true. I did find some really cool decals that are like graffiti. I was like, man, I really want those decals. Those are pretty cool. Alright. Let me know I'm, Take his take, man. Just paint it purple, neon colors. Okay, we'll take a look at it. We'll figure it out. Alright, no worries. I think I do need to do a little bit of cleaning up there. I see some flash on there. Let me get the flash off before I prime it. Take a knife here and do a little bit of chipping and chopping. One thing I do like to do, even though it's a heavy flamer in the turret for the Inferno Cannon, I like to cut all that off so that way it just looks like a little spout. That way I can run it as a Hellhound or a Bane Wolf. Bane Wolves, I had a lot of fun running them last edition. Especially because I kept playing like Necrons and Space Marines. Bane Wolf is pretty cool. Against like what we used to call, I don't know if it's still current day slang, so let me know. I don't know if we still call it MEQs. I feel like that's like lost its ubiquity of that term. Okay, yeah, on the back here there's some 3D printing flash, and that kind of looks also like the stuff that holds it in place. So be careful not to cut it, because it does look like little... It looks like little flashes, but it's also pipes. Okay, so I think we've finalized here. Let me grab a pointing apparatus here. I know just the thing to point with. My super overpriced GW tool. Yeah, love this thing. All right, so I think we're gonna do our friend or foe purple stripes. We're gonna do it here. We're gonna do it here. So those will be our rearward stripes. For our lateral sides, we're going to do this back panel. And as a backup, we're also going to do this panel here on the treads. For the fronts, we're going to do the hatches. This hatch, crew hatch. This hatch, the crew hatch. We'll do these two purple lines on top. That's for your top-down look, so you don't basically... If there's a friendly Valkyrie, it doesn't give you a hell strike right in the a-hole. And the same thing on the side, we're going to do this one. And then still also this back panel, which is a good backup because, like I said, sometimes the Hellfire can cover up this friend or foe, so we still have this one here on the side. The spice must flow. I love it. All right, so now we have that kind of finalized. We cut off some pieces. Let's get to priming that, and then we'll get to painting some models. And yeah, that's right. This is the model we'll be painting tonight. Hopefully we'll get at least 2 done. That'd be great. All right. For those of you who are curious, like, hey, do you prime indoors? I have my back door, like I have a sliding door. I'm not trying to like advertise where I live, but I have a sliding door, so I just kind of open my sliding door, and I have a fan, you know, so it kind of literally just pulls the air from the inside and pushes it outside. So everyone freaks out, like, you're using aerosols inside, like, it's fine, or it's not fine. You know, we'll find out in a couple years. Alright, so let's pick out this model. So we know that our color scheme is... Oh, shit. There we go. Live. It's live in front of a studio audience, as you can tell. All right. Okay, so we know our color scheme is usually a blue body glove, and a body glove is just an in-lore term for like a one-piece, kind of like a jumpsuit, boiler suit, just a little bit tighter, you know. So like when you play Rogue Trader, you see like armored body gloves. It's very kind of common. Looking forward to painting my new, you say Valentine tank? My new Valentine tank was so easy to build. Nice! Oh, dude, who doesn't love a good Valentine tank? I imagine the drug from the Far Cry 5 from Judge Dredd. Yes. Also, for those who haven't seen it, that Judge Dredd movie from like 2000, I want to say 12, is great. With the slow-mo drug and Mama, who's Cersei from Game of Thrones. Oh, such a good movie. Such a good movie. Okay, so we know they have a blue body glove, a leather jacket, leather boots, black armor, black web gear. Web gear is going to be like your pouches, canteens, things like that. Black guns with wood furniture, and any jewelry is usually gold. So with this one, as you can tell, she's dressed a little differently. So we're going to give her brown boots, and it looks like she has a little bit of armor above her boots, so that's going to be black. So brown boots, black armor. These kind of like cyberpunk stockings, I think we're going to go white with. So we're going to paint those white. Her thigh area is flesh, so that'll be skin. She's wearing what kind of looks like a very Ghost in a Shell. She's kind of wearing like a one piece with a leather jacket over it. So we're gonna do the whole, even though the one piece could be considered armor, we're gonna do the whole thing blue, and do her leather jacket brown. Her cult icon will do gold, you know, or like the bling for the Necromunda device. She does have the wooden forestock on her Shredder auto pistol. And then we'll do her shock baton. Ooh, now for the hair. Let me do another poll in the chat. It's like Combat Barbie. You guys get to pick the hair. Hey, Commander HL, what's going on, buddy? I personally like to see with the 50 cals. Yeah, those things absolutely ripped through that building. It was great. All right, the poll is up, and I have my vote in. So you guys go ahead and pick and let me know. Again, it's a very Ghost in Shell style looking model, so let me know what you guys end up picking. And I'm paying attention to who comments on the stream videos. This isn't me trying to garner likes, subscribes, or any BS like that. As you guys know, I always appreciate it, but I try not to mention it because we just do this shit for the love of the game, baby. There's no sponsors or any kind of stuff like that, so it doesn't matter. But anyone who does comment on the videos, I will be picking, you know, a regular trooper inside the neophytes, and I'll go ahead and put your name like on the bottom, you know. And if I get around to it, I'll put your name on the rim too. I may just stick to the bottom. So I'll put your name like on the bottom, and you'll actually be part of the 58th Necromunda. Also, RK, you said like things could be better. I hope everything's all right, buddy. If you want to shoot me a private message on DM, I'm always happy to chat with you anytime, man. I hope everything's good for you, brother. If not, I hope things are getting better for you. All right. Let's see what the poll's looking like. Yeah. Ooh, it might end up being a tie. So we'll call it on the hour. So we'll call it at 0100. Oh, just sick. Okay. All right. Ooh, some more votes. It's all over the place now. So I know what color I like, and I'm gonna cast my vote. I'll tell you what it is at the ends, and we'll see if it won. I think it might. I think it might actually throw the balance. So we'll see. All right. Yeah, you like how I put in monocolor this time so you guys can't be like, oh, we wanted 3-toned with leopard prints. Like, that is clearly beyond my very, very limited skill set. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Frenzel's already doing it. Black with neon green and frosted tips. Damn you, sir! Damn your eyes. So I think we're just gonna go from the boots up. I think it's the best way to start painting it. All right, so let's start with leather. Get on painting the fingernails, Jesus. Frosted tips would be super easy, bro. You're right, it would be easier. The only thing easier than frosted tips is a monocolor. I think that's what we'll stick with. I shall not be bullied by the chat, sir. Nope, not me, sir. Oh, RK, I'm excited for you. I have to say, I don't like competitive events, but it is always fun to see all. The best part, I will say, my favorite part about going to an event, the few I've been to, is seeing all the armies. You get to see like 8 or like 10 armies in one day. You're like, ooh, that's so cool. So, my goal is to get really good with the official rules of 11th, because I definitely would like to volunteer to be a TO for some competitive events. Try and bring in my. Hey, purple and green bangs worked out great. Yes, it did. On that hairstyle, it did. But I would like to try and be a TO at some of these more competitive events. Not, and I know it sounds bad. I'm not trying to like do like a passive aggressive takeover and like push my agenda. Not like that at all, you know. But I am pretty chill and I'm pretty fair, you know. So I would like to kind of be able to do that. Still do my due diligence as a TO, but also just try and keep it fun and narrative and chill. Not narrative, sorry, keep it fun and chill. Yeah, I have hopes, and I have hopes and belief that you'll get most sportsmen because I've played you before and you're a great guy, RK. So best of luck to you, buddy. I think you'll do well. And just let them know that you're an award winner. Be like, I'll have you know, I won most Tiki. Yeah, 3 games in a day. I even have an official competition shirt. I love it. So you guys may not know this. No, I'll keep that a secret. So if I ever go to a Conflict 47 event, competition or otherwise, I have a shirt for it. I'm excited to show off once I get there. It's in your DMs. Yes. Send me all of your messages. Alright, Caustic's in some pictures. They're all of his pants pulled down to his ankles. Caustic, you should get that mole looked at. That doesn't look good. That wasn't there in the earlier picture. Ooh, I do like the bodies hanging from that tank. So at first I was like kind of curious about your paint style, but with the bodies hanging off that those remind me of VTs, vertical tanks from like Steel Battalion Heavy Arms, I want to say is what it's called. Or heavy something. But the way those bodies are hanging, that's some of your best painting you've ever done. Like the way the blood like that is. I know it sounds very morbid, but it actually reminds me of like Picasso's. I can't think of the name of it. Picasso's work of art during the Spanish Civil War, like the after the Condor Legion basically redecorated a whole town, like that. And also, actually, it kind of looks like that painting, that famous painting of Saturn eating his children. You know what I'm talking about? It has that same style of color. It's really good. Morbid, but morbid doesn't bother me. It looks really good, actually. Good on you, Cosmic. Okay, I like your tray. Simple yet elegant. I like it. I like your lorry. Mandatory AT rifle. You know I'm a sucker for my AT rifles. Are those camels or are those asses? Oh, those look like camels. Oh, dude, I love this army. Oh, the fezzes. So much fez. I'm loving the fez. Great armored car. Truck with a ghetto blaster on it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oh, this. Oh, they're Italian. Oh yeah, they're Italians. Oh god, they look good. Now it makes sense. The AT rifle. The light mortar should have been given away before I even looked at the basically before I even looked at them and the feathers and shit. I should have noticed the light mortar. The light mortar looked very Italian, but the AT rifle. It's a good AT rifle. Yes, I love the competition shirt. Yep, that does look good. Nice. All right. Yeah, by Goya. Yeah. Yeah, I think Goya did the Saturn eating his kids, but Picasso has a really famous painting depicting the bombing of one of the Spanish cities during the Civil War. I think it's cosmic, and I think it's not cosmic. Sorry, I think it's dark, and I like it. Cosmic, it's pretty good. Trying to be better about painting on stream. There we go. I had to reorganize my hobby desk a little bit so I can get my elbow and stuff and get it on frame. Figure I'm gonna paint it like ass anyway, so I might as well at least paint it on stream. There we go. But yeah, I love your shirt, RK. I think it's gonna go over well. A big and a Bobby. So I got my 2 decks in. Speaking of purchasing things from GW, I got the mission pack only because it has the twists. And I purchased the narrative deck. I haven't looked at it yet, because I go straight from like work to working out with the wife, watching TV, taking a little nap, and then I stream. Then I go to bed, wake up, and work. Repeat the process. So I haven't had a chance to read the deck yet, but it looks kind of cool. From what I understand, that narrative deck is almost like a long weekend in a box. It's like a Crusade without the paperwork. It's a little bit lighter, mostly card based. It's supposed to take you through like 5 different games about, you know, so like a long weekend. So that may be what we do in November. I'm kind of excited about it. But I'm really excited about the event in Indiana. I know I talk about it each stream. I'm trying to build up hype for it. I was able to narrow in a little bit more of the months. I was checking with my other job. So it should be in June. Now we've narrowed it down from early summer to June. What we're looking like, the tentative days are June 5th and 6th. That's kind of what we're looking at. I'll be there the day before and the day after on personal business anyways. But yeah, so far we're looking roughly June, possibly June 5th through 6th. I'll let you know if it changes. All right. So while we're still doing leather, let's go ahead and hit her jacket. But yeah, what we're hoping is just very similar to, if you never read the Gaunt's Ghost books, you know, definitely pick up Necropolis, read it. That's what we're looking like. We're looking for like a hive war, like one hive city versus another hive city. Doesn't matter who's good or bad. There's propaganda going either way, you know. So it's just basically 2 hives just going at it. All right, it's time to take a look at the poll and close it. All right, it is a 3-way tie between white, bright jade, and neon green. And I'm going to go with white on this model. I think. Damn, I don't know. Shit. Yeah, I'm going to go white on that model because I want to go bright jade on this model. On that sergeant. So yeah, it looks like white won that one. So you guys can see it was a 3-way tie, and I was going to cast my vote to white. So, all right. I'll mix that hair easier. Which will also look kind of good because she doesn't have any shoulder pauldrons. So if all the hair to do white, that one actually kind of works. Damn, I don't know though. Shit. Shit. Well, if we're gonna do it bright green or even the bright jade, or doing it neon green or the bright jade, it'd have to be white anyway. So we'll paint it white first. We'll do the whole model, and then we'll do the hair white, and we'll see how it looks. That way we can either keep it, or we can go the next step further if we want. That seems like a good way to approach that. Then further tinkering with the rules in my garage for like a more bolt-actiony chill version of 40k. And I think one of the things we're looking at now, we're looking at testing is so you have 3 types of terrain, right? Unless I'm mistaken. I'm still like triple reading the rules and learning 11th myself. You have, oh shit, now I forgot the term. You have dense terrain, light terrain, and exposed. No, dense cover, light cover, and exposed cover, right? So exposed is things like craters and sandbags and things like that, right? You have light cover, and then you have dense cover. So one of the rules we'll definitely be doing, and I showed this before on stream, it's from the deck of and the twist, is it basically removes the I always want to get this right because I know verbiage is extraordinarily important, and it really is, not just being sarcastic. I always have to re-look it up. And mad shout out to Mad Larkin for helping me out with this. What it does is terrain features do not have the solid rule, and solid rule is what basically allows you not to be able to draw a line of sight through the main deck or the ground floor. So if you have like a window on the ground floor and there's an orc standing there, if there's a vehicle beyond that terrain and you can see through the window, technically you can't see him. Yeah, it gets rid of that. If you can see it, you can shoot it. Now they're still gonna get the benefit of cover, which is awesome. But yeah, if you can see it, you can. It's basically like it removes that ability. So I'm still deep diving into the whole hidden mechanic and understanding how that works with that manipulation to understand the full weight of changing that rule, you know. But so far, I still think it's gonna be kind of fun. But with that conversation of terrain, as I sit here and paint, I'm gonna try and paint and talk at the same time, see if I can do it here. But with that rules change, one thing we're looking at is what about vehicles? So, some of us older Warhammer grognards, right? We remember back in the day when, you know, and it's not saying it was better, so don't freak out with that, but you used to have to pay for war gear. So one of the war gears you used to pay on your vehicles, besides paying your, let me bring the mic over here, sorry. So besides paying the 5 points for your 100 killer missiles, you used to also have to pay for your dozer blades. And you're like, okay, well, what's the point of dozer blades? To give you better cover, better armor? No. Dozer blades allowed you to run terrain the fuck over without immobilizing your vehicle. You could just plow through shit. So dozer blades, while still a modeling option on the tanks, is no longer a piece of war gear. So I think what we'll do for our game is we'll take, and I gotta calculate this, we're gonna take the toughness of your vehicle, and we'll dictate, you know, like certain vehicles can go through, like all vehicles can plow through exposed cover. No big deal. So craters, sandbags, no shit's given, right? And it can destroy those too, which is kind of cool. So it gives you a tactical use for vehicles, you know, like breaching. Some vehicles will be able to go through light cover, no big deal. For some vehicles, if you go through light cover, what I'm toying with is it's going to be a hazardous test to see if you get battle shocked. I think battle shock works better than losing wounds, you know? Because I think if you drive over something, you know, instead of getting immobilized, I think battle shock is pretty funny because your crew's kind of shaken up. Like you drove through a building, you're fine. Your vehicles, you're checking everything, nothing's overheated, everything still works. But, you know, you probably won't be able to receive any orders or secure any kind of thing like that because you're still kind of battle shocked from literally driving through a fucking house. And then when you get to like big, huge vehicles, you start talking like Bane blades and stuff like that, you may be able to start driving through like dense cover and things like that, which is actually kind of cool. We'll see how that works. Nothing too crazy because we don't want people to just be able to like bring like nothing but knights and just kick over everyone's sandcastle. I think we'll probably keep it to where like Titanic vehicles and stuff like that, and things like Ingron and like, you know, big shit like that, we'll probably have them be able to like demolish light cover with no big deal. Whereas other vehicles, like if I try to take one of my Ridge Runners, or if you try and take a I don't know, what's a small guard vehicle, if you try to take a Sentinel through light cover, you know, imagine a light cover that a Sentinel couldn't walk through. You know, I'm talking like a single wall, right? If you try to take a Sentinel through light cover, that has a chance to basically battle shock them. If I try and take one of my Ridge Runners, basically just a car, and take it through a wall or a building like it's something out of you know, what is that? Too Fast, Too Furious. It's all about family. you know, I might have to take a battle shock test. You know, take a hazardous test if you fail, you're battle shocked. Versus if I take a Rogel Dawn through some light cover, you know, just okay, smash. So we'll see how that works. Something for me to toy with. Again, that allows a reactive battle map for what you're doing. But I think I'm gonna, as I talk it out loud and kind of toy around with it, I don't think I'm gonna allow vehicles to destroy dense terrain. I was really should have glove on when I painted gloves. Alright. So we got most of our leather done. Now let's work on to the next color. Nice, welcome back, Junie. We were just talking about possible terrain rules. That's what artillery is for. So it's funny you say that. That's the cool thing about artillery is in our rules, as far as instead of like destroying terrain necessarily, because the battle space is already pretty, most of our battle space is going to look pretty battle fucked up, you know, like some messed up buildings and stuff like that. But high strength and blast weaponry is going to create craters on the map, and craters are exposed cover, so that's kind of cool. So if you miss the enemy, you could actually give him better cover, you know, depending on where those craters land. So that's also kind of cool. And same thing, a vehicle that doesn't deadly, when you destroy a vehicle, if it doesn't fail its deadly demise roll, I guess you want to look at it that way, the deadly demise doesn't go off, or if it doesn't have a deadly demise, the vehicle stays on the map and it becomes cover, which is kind of cool too. Which can go, that can either be good or bad for you. I've seen it before in big bolt action campaigns where people like wait to knock out the front tank crossing a bridge and it blocks the whole bridge. Or like Berlin, we never talk about Berlin, where we were trying to cross a bridge and they were like waiting for us on the other side of the bridge, so I drove my trucks up on purpose. And I let them keep taking out my trucks, but I kept moving the trucks up to build basically like a wall of cover. So my infantry could basically just leapfrog from blown up truck to blown up truck and use them for cover to move in. And that's exactly what I did. My MPs were literally leapfrogging from like destroyed truck to truck. And they finally were able to like move into the tree line and absolutely Bonnie and Clyde SMG and BAR these asshole Germans in the woods. It was pretty good. All right. Let's check on the tank before I do another color. So that's my question. Are there any, and let me know, because I still dabble a little bit in guard, but not as much, Ibrahim, let me know. Are there any engineering vehicles in the guard still? Now, you're able to put dozer blades cosmetically. They're in the kits. But as far as I've seen, I don't see any vehicle that's had any kind of engineering special rule in the current guard codex, or much less anybody else's codex. I could be wrong. Happy to be wrong. Let me know. Alright, let's get another color. We put another, we rotated the tank, give it another base coat of spray primer black. Get another sip of Pepsi Zero and rum. Alright, let's do black. We'll bring him out because he already has his power maul done. So we assume as an example. So it looks black on the stem. I did Balthazar gold on the power module. The head is silver with a little bit of blue cackling to show its energy. And then of course I did a gold chain on it because, you know, thug life. Alright. So that's exactly what it is. So yeah, the vehicles aren't really built for that anymore. So that's why we're trying to, and again, it's one of those things where you can, now for your table, go nuts. Come up with all the cool custom stuff you want. You can even do like paid war gear or strategy. You can do some cool stuff with it. I'm trying to go for like I'm trying to walk a fine line here between the least intensive and least revolutionary rule changes and use a lot of what GW already has. A good example, like I'm using their twist about removing the solid rule. So it's not like I'm just coming up with this out of my own Yahoo. You know, I'm using something that's literally they published. I'm trying to change a little bit to bring it more in line with bolt action style of play. Not with the order dice, but just like kind of how shooting in the tabletop works. But not change it to where it's a completely new different game. It's like if you ever done like a mission editor on a game where you can like put in enemy forces and your own forces, like good example is Arma. Like sometimes I'll open up the mission editor in Arma and just playing that all day. I'll start off with a small squad, the enemy is a small squad, and then I'm like, okay, I'll give the enemy tanks, okay, I'll give me tanks, I'll give them this, and you just like keep putting your thumb on the scale, and you'll make it kind of unbalanced a little bit. So I'm trying to walk a careful line and try not to unbalance it too much. We're blocked. I don't even think the Chimeras are amphibious. Yeah, that was a huge heartbreak for me. I remember, Ibrahim, I remember when Chimeras were amphibious. Those were good days. That was one of the cool things between Chimeras and Torox. That's why I actually put a Chimera in one of my armies, because it was amphibious. I don't know, Jenny. I don't know who would be GSC in Conflict 47. As far as the next army I think I'll do in Conflict 47, I already have my Imperial Japanese. I may one day end up finally building, actually, you might like this, Jenny. Speaking of crossing Fallout in Conflict 47, I may build a resistance faction. But not just French resistance or Dutch resistance, it's going to be a Rift resistance. So it's going to be people against the use of Rift technology, against AI clankers by the British, against super soldiers by the Green Vault and the crusading Americans, you know, against the zombies of the Empire of Japan. So I may do a Rift resistance and base them kind of off the railroad from Fallout 4, but obviously cooler because I felt like they really underdeveloped the railroad. There's a lot of cool shit in there. So I've toyed around with Arcane and some other people to kind of build the faction up. I may do a custom faction. Even if I just play with both action resistance rules, that's fine. But I want to do a full resistance, no rift points, maybe like luck points, but no rift points. Just an actual resistance army in Conflict 47. So it's going to feel like Terminator 2, like we're all running around with just like M4s and M16s and shotguns and like some pickup trucks and machine guns. Meanwhile, they got like flying destroyers and tanks and like, you know, T-1000s and shit. So that'll probably be my next army build, is a resistance. And I already have the models kind of built, so I was gonna do an Indiana Jones style Department of Antiquity style build, like Monuments Men but with weapons for bolt action. But I think I'm gonna repurpose a lot of those models into my railroad resistance army. So I know that wasn't the answer to your question, but that was what was on my mind. I don't know about STLs. They may have the STLs, but I know they definitely do have those printed on like Etsy, like destroyed chimeras, destroyed rhinos, and stuff like that. They should have the STLs if they're out there. Yeah, it's gonna be like that classic line from Halo. It's like, back in my day, we only had rock. Well, we only had sticks and a rock, and for the whole platoon, and we had to share the rock. That's what it's gonna be like. We had to share the rock a little bit. Oh no! Crap. I was distracted. Accidentally started painting the boots with Black Legion. It's okay, I got some of it off. See, the Black Legion tries to take over everything. Over here, not paying attention. Next thing I know, I got Black Legion all over my leather boots. Let that be a lesson about the influence of chaos. I was influenced by chaos. I was answering a question off picture what I was doing, and thus introducing chaos. And then chaos led me to put Black Legion on my leather boots. There's your real-world example on the dangers of chaos. And now you know. I'll get you to do leopard print now. No, we're not doing any fucking Merlot. We're not doing leopard print. All right, I'm gonna go back and put some leather snake bite on there. Nice, good on you. Damn, Legion, you're like a painting factory. Man, like, jeez. I worry if we were like show up for like a surprise birthday party, you're gonna have like a basement full of like small children like chained to a bench just like painting models. You have like a whole little like sweatshop going down there. Be like, no breaks, more painting. But no, seriously, Legion, you are a monster at painting, man. You just, I thought I could do quantity, but man, you are an absolute beast. Well done. The children, they yearn for the paint shop. Yes. They yearn for the brush. Oh, God. So actually, this is kind of funny. I got my first, it's not even a commission technically, because I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it as a favor for somebody. Somebody would ask me like, yeah, because my wife talks to people. She's like, oh, you're into like painting miniatures, right? And I was like, who told you this? Like, who leaked the dark arts? Like, because I'm very compartmentalized, you know, so when I live like my other life, you know, I don't talk about my hobbies much, you know. So I was sitting there doing something different. Someone's like, oh, I heard you paint miniatures. Like, who the fuck are you? How do you know? Like, are you the FBI? Is this a camera? Is everything a camera? Like, what is this? Like, oh no, your wife told me. I was like, okay, like, hey, I want to get into D&D. Could you paint some miniatures for me? And I was like, oh, yes, yeah, I can do that. So they gave me their miniatures, and what they are is they're dogs. And this person's a female, by the way. So first I was like, oh, this is kind of dumb, but okay. They're basically like little dogs, like little 28mm dogs. But then I looked closer at it, and they all have like little adventuring gear. I was like, was this like a D&D thing for dogs? I was like, and then I flipped it around. Each different breed is a different class. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of clever. And I saw it too. Chihuahua is a rogue. I was like, yep, that tracks. Yeah, I was like, who told you? Yeah, I have, before anyone freaks out, I'm not like trying to like hide my nerdiness. No, not at all. I'm a nerd in real life too, but I just very compartmentalized. I've just always, due to old jobs, I've always kind of like just lived that way in very compartmentalized style. So it's always like, who said that? Who told you these secrets, woman? There was a funny joke, and I have a group text that goes on with my brother and a couple buddies. We're all like kind of 40K. We're into 40K, so it's like a fun little like daily thing. We kind of chit chat with each other. We talk a little shit, talk about 40K. You know, check in with each other. It's nice. You know, it's grown men. It's a nice thing, right? So, but usually I'd say about 60% of that chat is me and my brother just giving each other shit, which is glorious. The stripper job would take you away from the community. This seems now you gotta work to balance life. I don't think I'm not only in shape enough, but I don't think I'm coordinated enough to be a stripper. I do appreciate theming though, so I'd appreciate that aspect of the job. He denies his existence. Circle of the shape. No, joke's on you. So I've actually had the talks with a couple of guys, because the town where I currently live in, I say the town, the city, it's a pretty big city. The city we live in, it's not like Portland, Oregon, which I think is like has the most amount of strip clubs, but this city has a shit ton of strip clubs, to the point where it's so well known, and there's so many. I think I told the story before, like when we went to pre-deployment training, usually you pick when you pick like call signs, or when you're doing like mission language, a good example, like when you're naming the objective names, or like names for main supply routes, like MSR. A good example, like you have like MSR Tampa, so all the other MSRs are gonna have like city names, like it'll be like MSR Detroit, or you know, MSR Dallas, or things like that. They'll be like city names. Sometimes in some operations, you'll have cities named after beer, like, oh, this is MSR Coors, and this is, you know, alternate supply route ASR, like, I don't know, Bush, you know, so there'll be like a theme going along, like animals or something like that, right? So we were picking our objective names and like our radio call signs, because we were from the certain city that we're from, we picked the strip club names in the city, because there are like 20 of them. So we had plenty to pick from. We kind of shortened them down. It's like, oh, hey, this is Mons. Like, oh, hey, you know, Mons calling, you know, Venus, or like, yeah, this is Odyssey calling Dollhouse. So everyone's like, what are these weird fucking names? And I'll never forget. So we're all the way in pre-deployment training, like out in El Paso, right? I'll never forget. One of our cadres like, I know what the fuck those are. He's like, hey, who's your supervisor? We're like, oh shit, here it comes. So our squad leader's standing there just getting chewed out. It's like, this is inappropriate. I know what these are. He's like, I know what these objective names are. He's like, these assholes might not, but I know. He's like, you better unfuck that shit right now. I'm like, you better get it. It's unsat. Come up with better names. It's like, this is disrespectful. This is not appropriate or professional. Just absolutely just like chewed us out. I forget, we're sitting there, we're like, we thought it was clever. He's like, yeah, I know. That's the problem. It was too clever. The city of Townsville, yeah. Oh, nice. You're saving your Australian Ford Observer. Nice. So that was a funny thing. Yeah, our city had so many strip clubs, we're actually able to use them as a matrix for objective names and radio call signs. At least until the cadre found out and someone finally noticed. Oh, it was good. It was like on the second day of like, because we had like a 2-day long field exercise where we had to like take a whole village. So it's like on the second day they finally put it together, figured it out. When that guy explained it, they were not amused. I thought it was clever. But yeah, usually call signs will follow a set theme. A good example, like if you've ever seen Generation Kill, you know, they have Godfather is their 6, you know, is their overall unit commander. So therefore, their companies and platoons have call signs like Hitman and Assassin and stuff like that. You know, it's all very thematic. Nope, Jenny, never that. Never did any of that stuff. Just a normal guy doing normal things with normal people. Alright, so we have her brown boots with like, I kind of like these like black, because the other model had it too, where like the black armor's right above the boots, because it kind of looks like the knee pads are kind of like slid down, you know? Hey, Squidfist, what's going on, brother? Triple arm salute to you as well. The day of ascension is nigh. Keep your shredder auto pistol handy. Yep, CCP Waltz, Tango Foxtrot. That's a good one. I like to use I would use like medieval weaponry a lot for like whenever I was like building when I was building missions for exercises. So I'd have like I'd have a matrix of colors, and then I'd have like a matrix of medieval weapons. So it would be like, this is Operation Blue Mace, Operation Silver Crossbow, Operation Black Longsword, you know. This is Operation Teal Dagger. So you just have like a little matrix, and you just go like here, here, boom, there you go. Give you names. All hail the 8-arm Emperor. Yeah, I try not to get too fancy with it. Like, I'm trying to think, what's the name? It's one of my favorite blades in history. It's a very Venetian blade. It's one of the few actual uniquely Venetian weapons. I think it's called a, whoever knows Italian can correct me. I think it's a Cinquanta. I think that's what it's called. Cinquadera. Oh, I think it's Cinquadera. So it's called like a it's what is known as a 5-finger blade, because it's the width of 5 fingers. You've ever seen it? It's a very short, wide dagger, and it has grooves cut in it. It's a 5-finger blade. So like, what's the point of that? Well, Venice started passing laws about you couldn't wear a sword, not just because the dueling was getting crazy. Again, these are like very narrow streets, so you get in a duel, and people don't care that you're stabbing each other. They care that you're blocking a whole damn path. If you've ever been in New York City and you see people block the sideway, you know what I'm talking about, sidewalk. People like pulling luggage, you want to like throw it into traffic. So you weren't allowed to carry swords with you, so therefore cane swords and sword sticks became popular, but also people who can afford that, they got, I think it's Cinquadera, they got these 5-finger fan blades. These blades are fucking nasty and lethal, so they're short and they're fat and wide. And the whole point was you could like carry it kind of under your arm, or you could carry it on you under your cloak, and you basically pulled it out. And in these alleyways and these streetways where you don't have room to like swing a saber or swing a rapier, you're able to just absolutely stab someone. And because it's basically, it's kind of like a trial bayonet is what it looks like, but with like grooves. So that way, because it has grooves, it doesn't get stuck. You're able to like stab and pull out pretty quickly. And these were just nasty triangular deep wounds, and people just bled out very quickly. But they were perfect for like popping it behind someone in an alleyway and just absolutely shanking the shit out of them. But then, in the typical Venetian fashion, it became a fashion thing to have a Cinquadera, and because these had big, huge, wide blades that were not grooved, I should say fluted, people would take them to get painted. So some of the ones that survived history, these Cinquadera blades, they have these beautiful works of arts painted on them in typical like Titian style Venetian colors. You know, Titian was known for his reds and stuff like that. So you have these beautiful paintings on these absolutely lethal knives. Yeah, of all the stuff in history, military history is cool. I'm very biased. I lived near that city. I used to go to it all the time. I love the history of it. If you're ever looking for something to read, like if you need like a palate cleanse, read Italian history, and more importantly, read the history, like all the history of Venice. Venice is I will say this. Venice, Italy is the E4 mafia of cities. Bar none. I'm talking, you can look at Prohibition in Chicago. You can look at rum running in Florida. You can look at, you can even look at the Bahamas in the days of the golden age of piracy. There is still more shenanigans in the history of Venice. Venice is just wild. It's always been wild, and always will be wild. Ugh. Yeah, next time we meet, RK, I'm going to try and bring the appropriate ingredients. I'll make you a real Bellini, like how it's made in Venice, like a real Venetian-style Bellini. Oh, there's nothing like it, man. Yeah, a Squid Fist. It would have worked. No bullshit. Well, I guess you can't ask because she's not here. But I had that on my Xbox, and so we used to play the game, and we would plan our trip to Venice by walking around in the game. It was a legit 1-for-1. They did so good for Venice in that game. It was amazing. You could plan, like, kind of how you wanted to get around certain places. Like, you know where the train station ended up becoming, and you could, like, kind of walk around, like, okay, this is how you get to here. Okay, hey, what's the fastest way to get from here to St. Marco Square? That game was legit. It nailed it. Yeah, there's your little piece of... So you got a fun story time about us using local strip clubs as call signs, and you also got a fun little military history thing about the... and I gotta look up how to pronounce it correctly. My Italian was always terrible. I think it's Cinquedera. It's supposed to be 5-finger. But yeah, they're basically like little short fan daggers. Absolutely lethal. Jeez. Because they would just like pull you into the alley, flip open their cloak, just pull it out, and just absolutely stab you like right under the armpit, or just stab you right in the side. And it would go like right through your ribs and just make this huge triangular, like trowel style hole in you. No one's gonna stitch that up. You're absolutely dead. Italian history, oh God. Sometimes they do like sneaky assassinations, like poisonings, these whole like convoluted plots about poisonings. And then the next day, they would just stab you right outside your family's church, right in the open. You never know what's gonna happen. Italian politics is just absolute, like the Medicis and stuff like that. It's just absolutely wild, man. It's funny, I wanted to go to Egypt, but I never got a chance to. When I had a ticket and everything to go and it was all paid for, I was stationed in southern Turkey, and that's right when the Arab Spring kicked off, you know, and all the civil wars started popping up all along that area. So of course they got denied, and we got sent to the border. And I was like, well, that's nice. I never got a chance to go back. I need to. It's on my list of things to do. Always wanted to go to Egypt. Alright, so now we're gonna finish, or we're gonna work on her power, her shock maul. My God, was that Operation Chartreuse Rapier? No, that was Coral Cinquedera. Yeah, Operation Coral Cinquedera. Yeah, you see some things like sad people like stop it. I got to name one operation, and it ended up being a real-world training operation for like multiple units. It ended up going up pretty high, which is pretty cool. I was like an E4 at the time, which is unheard of. But I came up with a bunch of names, and one of them was like a joke, you know, and that's the name. And of course, it was fighter pilots, so that's the name the fighter pilots picked. I'm pretty sure it was the triple nickel shop, so it was the 555th. It was either them or the buzzards. I think it was the triple nickel. So we ended up calling it Viking Thrust. And we pitched it as a joke, like this is all just like a tabletop exercise, but then like Command got a hold of it. It's like, oh no, we could actually do this. This would be a good, you know, we have the fuel for it. You know, this would actually be a good actual field exercise, a good repetition to get in. They're like, what's the name of it? We're like, I'll never forget. We're all standing there like in the Wing King's office. Like, I remember looking at the captain. I'm like, are you gonna say it? It's like, I'm not gonna say it. They're like a straight face, and fighter pilot's like, it's Operation, and he like pretend to check the paper, like flip through something. He's like, Operation Viking Thrust. The Wing King just like looked up. Wing King is the usually general or colonel in charge of an airbase wing or a fighter wing. He looked up. He's like, say that again. He's like, Viking Thrust, sir. He's like, yeah, we just mix some sports metaphors, sports teams, and like sports maneuvers. Wing King just like kind of looked at him like, because he used to be, obviously most Wing Kings are usually fighter pilots themselves, so he knows that guy was full of shit. He's like, all right, Viking Thrust it is. Oh man, times were wild, man. The GY, you'll never see those times again. All right. That was my favorite part. I'll never forget that guy. He's like sitting there, like flipping through his paper, like like trying to find the name. I was like, you know what the name is? Like, come on, don't lie. Nah, that guy was really cool. So he was a captain in 03, and I was I think I just put on E4, just recently put on E4 at the time, and I got pushed off on that detail because it was just supposed to be like, yeah, let's just send someone from our squadron just to like kind of coordinate, no big deal. But I knew what I was doing, and I learned a lot from working with those guys. It was a really cool training situation. And I became friends within reason, like professionally, friends with that guy. So then when I went to a leadership training and I graduated to become a non-commissioned officer, and there was like an award ceremony for it, I invited him because usually you only have people from like your squadron at your table, and of course there's other people from my squadron there, like more golden boys that were chosen, And so I was like, I'm just gonna go there and get drunk and smoke cigars. So I was like, who do I want sitting by me? Of course I had my spouse. So I invited some people from flight, so they could get the day off so I could help out my buddies. But then I also invited the Army and the pilot guys I worked with. The Army guys weren't able to make it, sadly. But that guy, who was my point of contact with the fighter squadron, he ended up showing up because he's an officer. He doesn't, and usually fighter pilots, they're not in charge of enlisted people, so they're only in charge of their officers. Like, I've never been to like an enlisted event like this. Like, let me show up. And that guy showed up. He actually flew that day, and he showed up right afterwards, which was pretty cool. So we ended up hanging out and drinking and smoking cigars after. He's like, oh, this is actually really cool. That was a good time. This is a cool dude. The point is, like, he didn't have to show up for that. He's just like a fighter pilot and a captain, but he did. And that was really cool to see. Really chill guy. The cool thing is that same exercise, we ended up working with the fighter squadrons, and as a cop, fighter squadrons don't interact with cops very much. And then this is like the really cool thing, almost like what you get in like a guard or Gaunt's Ghost novel. Years down the line, years later, I'm talking like 2 to 3 years later. Maybe it felt like years later. I think it was like a year or 2 years later. I ended up deploying to Afghanistan out of the state of Florida. And when I was there, it was the Triple Nickel. It was the Triple Nickel was the squadron on deck. They were our F-16s out of Bagram. So I was like, holy shit, I know these guys. So on one of my patrols, I stopped by and I saw some maintainers I know. I'm like, hey there. I was like, hey, you guys know where to find the best gelato? And they're like, holy shit, we know you. And I was like, hey, what's going on? So it was really cool. Like, it's a big military, but it's also kind of small. So like years down the line, so the cool thing was, we ended up building a really cool rapport with that squadron and all the parts of that squadron, including the intel guys. And so when Christmas came up, there's no gifts to give. The only gifts you give are like incoming rockets from the assholes in the mountains. So it's kind of up to you to give each other gifts. And so one thing we did is I linked up with the intel nerds from that fighter squadron. And this is all on the up and up. It's legal. We all had appropriate clearance. And so they're like, hey, we'll make a Christmas trade. Like, yeah, you guys can come out and take your Christmas photo on our armored vehicles, and you can drive our MAT Vs around for a little while, play with the Crow system, just don't shoot anything. And they're like, okay, well, if you guys, show us your, verify you have clearance, and we do have clearance, and they brought us in, and they showed us, raw footage from the drone, and more importantly from the F-16 strikes. So that was kind of cool. We got to actually see the S16 like gun cameras on all their strikes in the country. That was kind of cool. So we had kind of a fun little trade. So that's an NCO. It's important because you're taking care of your troops. So they got to do like some cool stuff, and they got to see some cool footage, and it was good for everybody's morale. And same thing, their troops got to take a cool picture and ride around in an armored vehicle, you know, pose with some weapons so they can have kind of a cool, as intel nerds, you know, 1XOX4s, targeteers, they can have a cool Gucci photo to like send home to their family, like, look at me, I'm deployed, and here's my vest and weapon. Realistically, it's our vest and weapon, you know, but it made them look badass. So it's a glimpse into like the military and the kind of like prison training you do as NCOs to kind of take care of your guys on both sides. Tiki, make it legal, yeah, the Tiki point. Oh, just got your tank painted, nice. One of your vertical tanks, nice. All right, we got her mallet painted. Let's paint the gun. Paint her shredder on a pistol. Yeah, so it's cool. Like it's good to make friends and like not be a dick, because you never know when you're gonna run into people. So sure as shit, you run into people that you trained and worked with on like an exercise like 3 years down the line. You know, it's kind of cool. You're like, oh hey, shit, I know these guys. Oh, nice, the ZP. Nice. Wish you best of luck, Cosmic. But I hear Conflict 47 are some of the more chill, even if for a competitive event, I hear they're pretty chill and fun, so that's good to hear. Oh, nice. I'll definitely take a look. Let me finish when I'm painting black here on this model. I'll take a look at it. It's been a good stream so far. We've got some painting done. We've told some stories. We've talked about some ideas for chill wave style 40K. You absolutely can. I've seen that meme too of like it's the speaking of nail guns, it's the Votan, but they're all painted as the different power tool brands. Like you have Ryobi, you have Black & Decker, you have Milwaukee. That's a great 40K meme. That thing's got some legs on it. That'll be around for a while. Every time I paint these models, it makes me want to like, when I get off stream, it makes me want to like stay up and play some like Dark Tide and just run around as like High Scum. I have a pretty cool High Scum character built. I call her 3-armed Tina, or Tina 3-armed, I can't remember which one. But I built her to be good. I think it's just like a braced auto gun, but it just absolutely chews through flak and carapace. I mean, she runs out of ammo all the time, which sucks. But it's just an absolute just body dropper. And then I totally went the tread feather path where you get like they call it like the big boom or whatever. I call it the tread feather. It's the missile launcher. I think they have some of the best lines in the game too. They're funny. But I think my melee weapon, I think I just use like a Catachan Devil. I like the parry on it, you know. I use that to like kind of cut through the chaff. Well, here's the best part. If you have guard, all you gotta do is just add a few things and you have GSC. You don't have to go like a full GSC build. You can dabble in and out, and that's the best part. If you have guard models, Ginny, or even just bolt action models you want to use as guard, shoot me what you have, and I can try and build you like a very minimal GSC list. And a lot of your models in the guard armor you have can count as GSC. They don't have to look like Gene Stealers. As long as they look obviously different, you'll be fine. Like, a Cadian Constelling can absolutely be a Nexus. You just gotta, like, temporarily, like, use, like tape or something. Just put them on a bigger base a little bit, you know? Oh. I got you. Yeah, no. I see what you mean, Jenny. Yeah, no worries. I meant, like, if you had guard, I could kind of, like, help you change the rules, but I got you. But, actually, yeah, if you combine your NIDs with your bolt action, you shouldn't have to buy anything. You should be able to just kind of run those. Yeah, you can use your bolt action or your NID models if you really wanted to, but again, no pressure, no, not trying to coerce you any way or the other. Alright, let's take a look at Cosmic's tanks. I like the decal on the front of your ZP. I always like the ZP tanks. I always thought they were kind of cool. Usually I'm not a fan of Soviet stuff, but I thought the ZPs were kind of neat. They remind me a lot of like House Atreides Sonic tanks from like Dune. Speaking of which, I haven't seen the new second part 2 of Dune yet. The first one wasn't bad, but it just seemed like, hey, all the actors you know, but this time they're in the desert. I'm like, oh, cool. I will say though, speaking of movies, I was watching probably I think one of the better movies, and when I say this, I mean not just written and acting, but I mean like overall, everything about the movie just works. It's one of those movies that has a very lean runtime. There's no wasted lines, no wasted frames. It's just, I don't know. It's one of the movies that should just be, I think, studied for how to actually do a movie. If you've never seen The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, I promise you it's worth it to sit down and watch the thing. Watch it from the beginning to the ends. You might want to watch it twice. Pay attention to every detail along the way. Everything ties in. Every single solitary thing ties in. It's just one of those absolute like master classes of a movie. Funny as hell. Absolutely hysterical. Great cast. You got Matt Bomer in there. Yeah, The Nice Guys. Absolutely amazing. And right now, Mrs. Tiki and I, we're watching Spider Noir. We're watching it in black and white. It's pretty good. Nicolas Cage, ironically enough, being Frank Coppola's son, or nephew, I think. I know he's related somehow to Frank Coppola, or Coppola, whatever his name is. But he is good in that role. Like, as like the very classic noir style gumshoe dick private eye. Cage is just, he's just chewing away at it, and it's good. He's playing it very similar to how he played in like Lord of War. That very like kind of dry delivery. Oh, he's great. Yeah, nephew, there, that's what it is. But yeah, so far, Spider Noir, especially in black and white, it looks so good. It looks so good. It takes me back to like Sky Captain, The World of Tomorrow, and like, oh god, so good. Yeah, Lord of War. So, did you know who made Lord of War? This is gonna blow your mind. Alright, you ready for this? Lord of War was made by Chris Roberts. If you don't know that name, that's the guy who came up with Wing Commander, and the guy currently behind CIG who's doing Star Citizen. Yeah, Lord of War was like Chris Robertson's movie. He didn't make that many movies, and that one was just absolutely amazing. It's funny how some things are related, you know? Yeah, right? You're like, oh shit. All right, let's check on our tank here. We're making pretty good progress on her. So let's check the tank. Very nice. This should be the final base coat for the tank. Commander Chichel, I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know about a horse. Are you talking about the glue that got trapped in the swamp? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So yeah. Too bad Star System's still pretty shit. I like it, but I'm biased, so I don't think my rig can run it anymore. So I haven't played it in like a year or two. But some people know this story. I was one of those people where I got very lucky. So I watched a lot of the YouTube stuff about it, and most YouTube channels used to have a, comment below and we'll pick a person and you can win a free ship, So I did that, and I actually won a pretty damn good ship. If you don't know how ships work in Star Citizen, you can buy them with in-game currency or real-world currency, and it's part of like your pledge, like to keep the company going. And the way it works is you can also, it's called melt. You can melt that ship for basically in-store credits, but of real money. So I bought the starter pack, which like any other video game out there, I think I got it for like $40 at the time. You get like kind of a shitty starter ship. You get access to the game, which is like the alpha, basically the open world alpha. And you get access to the single-player game when it finally comes out, if it ever does. This was like in 2018, right? So this is almost 10 years ago. So that's when I got into it, and then I won a raffle for a super nice ship, which I absolutely melted, and that gave me $500 worth of, 500 real-world dollars worth of stuff in-game to spend on their in-game store. So I have a whole-ass fleet of just, really cool ships now. And I've only ever spent like $60. So I feel bad. Star Citizen could absolutely be like in a whole huge numbers thing. If you're like, oh, I've seen where you have to pay thousands of dollars for a ship. There are some ships like that, but that's like saying all Warhammer costs. It's like if you're trying to buy a Warhammer army and you look up a professionally painted army on eBay, you'd be like, oh my god, see, a 2,000 point army is $5,000. Like, yeah, probably if you buy a fully painted one. But I got lucky. So I was like, so I played the shit out of Star Citizen, because from then on out, it was worth it for me. But I can say for the $60, for the 40, I think it was about $40, $60. I'm trying to think. I think it was like $40, yeah. So for the $40 I spent, I say 60, that's what most video games are. So for the $40 I spent, it was worth it for what I've played. I've gotten a lot of gameplay of it through the years, so I've enjoyed it. I miss some of the stuff, I miss Port Olisar and some of the other older stuff. It's just gotten it's gotten so intensive on the rig that my gaming laptop can't run it anymore. It's too old now, so that's why I haven't played it in years. It used to be you'd start in one of the cities, it would just crash every time, so I'm like, fuck this. But gameplays wise, it's not bad. It's just very, very it reminds me of No Man's Sky in the beginning. A lot of endeavoring, a lot of promising stuff that's hard to work on. There you go, the M14 Star Trooper reference. Nice. I'm glad that made it up to you. All right. Let's get some more and I will grant you that it probably never will because it generates too much money. But I will say at least it generates enough on the flip side of that, Cosmic. At least it generates enough money where they didn't have to sell out to investment people that much. So there's not a lot of the same kind of garbage that ruined a lot of modern day games. You know, looking at the new Saints Row, the new Dragon Age, you know, Dustborn, all these like absolutely garbage games that were like built by a committee. You know, at least Star Citizen made enough money voluntarily. They didn't rob anybody. And they made enough money voluntarily where they can make the game that they want to make without having to incorporate all these. They still have a lot of game developers and not as much like S1 overhead, not as much HR and office workers, unlike other game developments. So if you only pay the $40, like I said, it's one of those things where if you go crazy, yeah, that's on you, man. If you only pay $40, I think you can get good experience. You can get your $40 worth out of the game. It doesn't even have to release fully. Like if it never releases, I'm fine because I've got my money's worth. So it makes the never mind to me. But I can say I have seen that where I've seen like the e-shitification of a lot of video games from like 2015 to now. You know, I've seen that game kind of just roughly stay the same. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just unfinished and rough. But it's at least consistent. Or like modern day gaming, other than like some indie games took an. Oh, you have some beautiful ones here and there. You know, like you have some like Baldur's Gate 3 and Helldivers 2 and stuff like that. But a lot of other things just went wrong, took a nosedive. Age of Wonders 4 isn't bad. I still prefer. I think the one I play is Age of Wonders 2 Shadow Magic or something like that. I like the second one. I actually like the art style of that better. I like the kind of like spritey, kind of low resolution to it. I played Elite Dangerous for a little while. I just ran a Cosmic. I ran a Dolphin and just did like tours and just flew around and basically played Space Taxi. So I don't think I saw a lot of the game, you know? I want to say, Elite Dangerous, that's where the Fuel Rats started, I want to say. And if you guys are looking for like another long form video and you're interested in something, if you don't know what a Fuel Rat is, definitely look up a documentary on the Fuel Rats. It's a super interesting story. Instead of me blabbing about it, I will let you guys find a documentary video on it. It's a really, 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 really cool concept. Yeah, you seem like a Fuel Rat, Cosmic Drew, in a good way, and I mean, you know, I mean that in the best way. It's one of those good stories in gaming, like those feel-good stories, you know? You're like, yeah, it's nice. Ironically, that's actually how this channel started way back in the day. Some of my earliest videos, which I have unlisted, are Star Citizen videos. What I did is I took some starships and I took the stats for them and I came up with alternate concepts for them. Like I took a bounty hunting ship that had cryopods in it, and it was like kind of smaller, and I used it as a repurposed into like a combat shuttle for like landing troops. I took the very common ship and I made it the Space Roach. I basically built a stealth variant, so you swap out the components on the ship, you lower the EM signature and stuff like that, and you could run it like a combat search and rescue or like a covert, almost like a junk. It looks like just a standard ship on the outside, but on the inside, you know, it's all like a stealth build, and it's really cool for like inserting and extracting people. Yeah. Those were my original videos, like way back. I want to say like 2019, 2020. Nerd. Oh, Jenny, you mentioned the game. That is on my list of top 5 favorite video games in my whole life. Arcanum. I still use that recipe. I still make the banana bread with that recipe from that instruction manual. I love that game. There's a good story about my brother and me in that video game. It's very personal, so I don't tell it, but it's a great game. It's a super important game. I love that game so much. It's on Steam. If you have it on Steam, it runs on Steam pretty well. Hey, Matthew, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're having a good, safe night. So we're painting another neophyte leader, and we've been priming a Hellhound tank. So let me paint her. One piece on, and then I think we will go to a break. I appreciate your pun, especially with it being a Steamwork game. I love it. That's a good one. Good one, Nathan. Nathan stopped taking my video game recommendations after I told him to try Bureau XCOM Unknown. Which, to be fair, if you like the combat from Mass Effect, that's what the combat is in the game. It's definitely a short game, and I feel like they just like stopped trying halfway. But it's got a, I don't know, I thought it had a decent story and kind of a cool vibe to it, but I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't. I think I ruined all video game recommendation rapport with Nathan on that one. But he got me to get back into playing XCOM 2 with mods, so I appreciate that. Oh, I've probably wasted hundreds of hours. The aesthetics are cool, nothing else about it was. You didn't like the story? I thought the story was kind of cool. Oh yeah, arcade, is it called gambling? Is it called Vegas? I know, it's just that I'm trying to be better about painting on stream, but her one piece is very, very small, so I'm trying to get it just right. So I'm going to paint very close. Alright. So there's that neophyte leader. Hey, John Shepard, what's going on? I'm looking at getting into Warlord Japan for Conflict 47 Bolt Action. Welcome to it, man. It's fun. There's a lot of different ways to play them now. There's not like one set way to play them, so I think you'll have fun getting into them. Is there any advice or recommendations you're looking for, John Shepard? I was about to head to break, but I can stay on the horn here for another couple of minutes for you to pop a question in there. Let me know if there's anything I can assist with. If you have any questions, concerns, anything you want to float by me, let me know. I'm not the best Imperial Japanese player. I'm not the most experienced. I do have a lot of models, and I do love playing them. I played a lot of games of Bolt Action with them. I played First Edition Conflict 47 and Second Edition Conflict 47 with them. But I have a very unique playstyle for 2nd edition Conflict 47 that some people may or may not prefer, but it also is in line with the models I have, so I will happily answer any questions you got. Let me know. I'll hang out here for a bit, see if he's got any questions before I head off to break. And luckily, on today's break, I actually uploaded my song I made on that Suno AI program. So it's very similar to a cosmic song. Okay. No, okay, I'm good. Nice. Oh, yes. Nothing wrong with a good snilf, John Shepard. The Special Naval Landing Force are absolutely awesome. That's what I modeled my my Ghost Squads. I used the OG print where they actually wore the Crouching Dragon style underwater apparatus. So I used those for my landing force guys. But yeah, snilfs are cool. I have a couple historical books on them, and I read up about them a lot. So when I built my snilf units, they all had like foreign army SMGs and stuff like that, and like captured weapons. They were really cool. And I do have two float tanks, 2 Type 2 commies that I painted in a Special Naval Landing Force style Imperial Japanese Navy. So I did mine as like blue with like white netting camo on it, so it kind of looks like blue and white mist camo. So as they like come aboard onto the beach with like smoke and stuff, they kind of blend in. I've been playing my Capers and Germans like Chaos Marines. Nice. Well, nice, man. I say, yeah, if you already know what you're doing, by all means. But I'm glad you mentioned something. Yeah, I love my Empire Japan and Bolt Action and Conflict 47. They're great. Yeah, it is a fun play on words. I do like saying snilfs. That was actually one of the shirts I was gonna make. You know, can't keep a good snilf down. I was gonna have like the IJ and landing party logo on it. All right, we also have our Hellhounds primed. I already have a Totem Core Heavy German Army. Oh, nice. You bought the Totem. Oh, nice. Army yesterday. Lots of Stall Troop and Walkers and big guns. Nice. You dropped the new Illuminate. I haven't dropped on it yet. Everyone keeps saying that. I haven't. I need to play it. My weekdays are kind of busy. Like I said, I work early in the mornings. When I get off work is usually around the time that my wife gets off work, so we go out and either like hike together or go swimming and stuff like that. Then we come back in. I usually nap for a little bit, take a nice, how luxurious is that, a nice little afternoon nap. And then I stream, then I go to bed and I wake up and I work again. So it dropped in the middle of like my busy week, so I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to. But also I'm kind of waiting for like the numbers to go down, because I know it's always very hectically busy, when there's new stuff. There's always like thousands of divers everywhere. But I'm excited. I'm excited to play with like the melts, because I use Casterkins on the tabletop at Warhammer 40k, so I'm excited to see like a melt of mine and stuff like that. That's gonna be pretty cool. Oh, nice. Y'all, if you want, I would love to see it, John Shepard. Let me know where you post it, and I'll see if I can find it, especially if it's in his Discord. I'd love to see it. I use a lot of Shibido. I use a lot of Japanese zombies. So my Conflict 47 Japanese force, I use a lot of conventional assets. So I use a lot of veteran riflemen with tough fighter. The officers obviously have like their energy katanas. I use a sniper team with a Shiboro rifle. I use AT rifle teams. I use stock old world Type 97 Shinhoto Chihas with the medium AT guns, and then I bring in my zombies. And what I do is I play very cagey. I put everything. I generally use a lot of things on ambush, and then I slowly move my riflemen up. And my AT rifles, my snipers, my demotion board. It's there just to pop officers, pop NCOs. And because a lot of other armies are encouraged to be very aggressive, the Imperial Japanese benefit greatly from being very reactive, like Spiderweb, like very ambushy and pop and shoot people. And having multiple Chihas with medium AT guns, they're not expensive, and they can they will sometimes they'll kick the dick in on some light walkers, so they're actually pretty good. And then the zombies on ambush, sometimes near the close to the middle of the board, but also keep a squad always backed by my tanks. And they've eaten well. They've eaten a lot of fireflies that like to jump up on these on those tanks. All right, guys. So with that, we're gonna head out for a break real quick while I grab another drink. So I will see you guys here in a few minutes.
We hit the hair block fast, Mohawks through the glass, Necromunda in the blood, boots on the ash. Showed enforcers in the crew, hives come to tank lines, safe behind us, that's what we do. Blades tucked low, pistols in the coat, take the side street, cut the throats, don't choke. War drums roll, roads open wide when the order comes. We light the night. 58 Necromunda. Breach, breach, breach. 58 Necromunda. Train killers each. Lighting fast through the maze. Loyal to the guard and the emperor praise. We spot the armor first, clear the broken lane, draw them into back alleys, leave them in pain. Bright mohawks flash like a warning sign. Every block we own, one street at a time. Needle guns, hard stare, brother stay lethal. If one of us falls, we all go mental. Blaze tuck low, pistols in the coat, take the side street, cut their throats, don't choke. War drums roll, roads open wide when the order comes. We light the night. 58 Necromunda. Breach, breach, breach. 58 Necromunda. Train killers each. Lighting fast through the maze, loyal to the guard and the emperor praise. For on emperor, hear our vow. Street by street, we bring the storm now. Mayhem blooms in the enemy's path. Tank crews breathe when we turn them back. 58 Necromunda. Breach, breach, breach. 58 Necromunda. Train killers each. Lighting fast through the maze, loyal to the guard and the emperor praise. 58 Necromunda. Burning bright of the urban fight.
All right, and we are back. Praise the forearm emperor and pass the death sticks. How's it going? Lucky enough, I was fast enough during that break to refill my my Coke and rum, or rum and Coke. I don't know why I said it that way. Why did I say Coke and rum? It's kind of weird. All right, so that was a song made with Suno AI, like a lot of the other songs like in the whole community. So let me know what you guys think. You know, it's kind of describing the army a little bit. We're building the 58th Necromunda light armored recon, so that's kind of cool. We got our Hellhound Prime, which is kind of cool, and we are working on one of our neophyte leaders. So let's get her all painted up. All right. But yeah, I'm excited to get 500 points fully painted, because right now I'm just... Make sure how I phrase this appropriately before it gets clipped. Right now I'm playing by myself in the garage, testing out, you know, lists and rules and stuff like that. I'm trying to do this thing for 11th. It's a new edition, new me kind of thing, right? You know, like one of those like pick me girls, like, oh, I'm in this era, you know. But no, new edition, new me. So my goal for this edition is to, and this is just me, no shame on anybody else. It's just my own goal, right? I'm trying not to put an unpainted model on a tabletop in public. So that's my goal for this edition. It's not about win rate. I'm gonna have fun either way. I have fun where I go. I'm not gonna waste my time off. But my goal is to not play with a single unpainted model on my side. So that's my thing. That's my jam, baby, you know, as it were. So that's why we're on the road to 2K, so I can get all these painted by the time I go to play in Texas in November. Nice. It's a good goal, RK. And a lot of people may view that as like snobbery. Oh shit. Hey, I didn't see that. Ed Scar, what's going on? No, I know you did a drive-by. I hope you have a great day at work, man. Sorry I missed you. I think you came in right as I was heading out on break. Yeah, some people may look at it as like snobbery, like, oh, it's got to be painted, huh? It's just to make sure that I don't let my pile of gray shame build up. Like, I'm giving away a lot of things I never built. You know, I'm sending away a lot of my Conflict 47 stuff, a lot of my orcs, you know, which apparently they're super powerful right now, which, controversial opinion, because I don't care if I win or lose, of all the factions to be kind of OP, everyone's going to be like, oh, GW shill. No, I'm actually kind of glad the orcs are OP, because that cracks me up. Right? Like, it's funny to see like the cyclical nature of the power creep. I'm glad it's landing on orcs. Now, I know modern day everyone's just gonna like bump over to orcs and just like run them as broken shit. Like, I remember that guy who cheated and like mistakenly didn't know the rules and put like gas coal or whatever in a truck with a hard case. Like, you know, you can't do that shit. Like, don't lie. You know, don't be a tourist. So that guy cheated. You know, there's no other way. That's not a mistake. He just straight up cheated. But it's sad to see stuff like that. But of all the opponents to play that are difficult, like, I'd much rather... you're right, it was a battle wagon. Why did I say truck? Yeah, it was a battle wagon. But I'm glad to see orcs be kind of overpowered, because it's be kind of fun, like holding back the green tide as they just absolutely slaughter through your guys. I think it's kind of cool. Just like, I don't mind Tyranids and orcs being, in my opinion, I don't mind those two being OP, because it just cracks me up. It just leads to like really fun, like Starship Trooper style games, you know? Space Marines being super powerful, it just kind of gets old after a while. I'm like, oh, cool, oath to this, oath to that. No shitting on Space Marine players, you're just like, oh, cool, you know? Or like Custodes, you're like, ah, cool, here comes the Emperor's Chosen, who, hey, where's the Emperor? Oh, he almost got killed and he's paralyzed on the throne? Yeah, they must be really good at their jobs. Okay, cool. You know, but here they come with all this fancy shit. Alright, cool. Here we are fighting not on Terra, you know, way to protect Terra and the Emperor. Now, so to be fair, Jenny, part of it I kind of do understand. There's the natural tendency, and I'm speaking to this as, you know, former military and law enforcement. There's a natural tendency to think outside the box when it comes to combat. Now, I know war games are a tabletop game, right? This is just playing with toy soldiers on a tabletop, but it mimics warfare. And Sun Tzu, you know, which I think is the one person, I think it's a whole theory about that. It's like a whole like group of people. But anyways, all warfare being based upon deception. And this is part of the video I'm writing. I'm writing like it's gonna be, it sounds like a clickbaity title, but it's gonna be kind of like in defense of the gotcha, you know? But all warfare is based upon deception, and, you know, the whole, like, if you're not cheating, you're not trying kind of thing. Not in a social event. That's why I think, like, social rules need to take over for a social event. But in warfare, yeah, you kind of bend the rules, you kind of manipulate things, you change the operations tempo. There's a lot of stuff you got to do. So a lot of people just naturally bring that into tabletop wargaming, but they're forgetting it's a social event, and they're wasting someone else's time by being a dickhead, you know? So that's why I'm like, hey, as long as you and your punter are always cool with it, you're fine. But some people I played with, you can tell I'm not a fan of cheating, or I'm not a fan of, like, people trying to be, you know, very selective with the rules. Not a fan. I'd rather just be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna fuck around the whole time then if we're pulling that kind of stuff. There's no need to cheat, because even if there is a purse, like, I don't think it's worth cheating, but that's my opinion. But competition can bring out the creativity in everyone, and sometimes that creativity can have a negative slant towards it. That's why I don't like the idea of being a win at all cost. Oh, like Recce? Recce is a great rule, yeah. So Recce, and so that's one thing I'm going to be talking about in my video, RK. I'm going to be talking about gotcha, like what people consider gotcha stratagems. You know, like you don't have. You tell everybody, like, hey, these are my models, here's my army list, let me know if you have any questions about the rules. Here are my stratagems, let me know if you have any questions about the stratagems. But you don't have to tell everybody your exact tactic, like, hey, careful with those guys can react to fire. No, let them shoot them, react to fire, and they'd be like, oh my god, okay, those models can react to fire, that's a lesson learned, and they carry on the next time, you know? But also in bolt action, Comic 47, yeah, recon or recce and ambush, same thing. Berlin, man. Berlin. Yeah. I must say, yeah, you saw exactly how I had a very low tolerance for that bullshittery. Yeah. When that guy misquoted the recon rule, I was like, yeah. I waited. I was patient until I had evidence of him absolutely manipulating the rules for his own benefit. Then I was like, okay, you know, you fell into my, you know, face down, blue eyes Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap Dragon card, you know. Here we go. So, for those that don't know that, the Berlin story is, there was a guy kind of playing very cagey. It was supposed to be a narrative event, but he was putting in certain, like, competitive rules that no one agreed upon, that the game organizer wasn't agreeing to, but he was on a different table somewhere else. And so this guy was just being an absolute asshat. And I had no proof, though, so I waited. I was just trying to be friendly. And I made friends with my local American players, which is cool. So me and some of those guys are still buddies to this day. And then finally, someone asked him how Recce worked, and he purposely misquoted it to his advantage. And I didn't know a lot about bolt action. I knew a little bit, but that was a rule I know a lot about as being a sneaky Japanese player. So I was like, you're full of shit, and here's why. Yeah, the third floor of the ruin. Yeah, I should have called that one, but I was kind of unsure. But I waited until I absolutely had 100% verifiable evidence and plenty of witnesses, and when he pulled that shit, that's when I absolutely yanked the rug underneath. I'm like, nope, this is bullshit. I was like, your opinion no longer matters here. You hush. Let's get the TO over here. Just absolutely, I was like, nope, dice down. You stop talking. TO over here, please. Hey, this is the situation. This seems like horseshit. He's like, yeah, it's absolutely horseshit. He turned to the guy, he's like, stop being a dickhead. That's not how we play. I was like, thank you. And then we continued on, and that guy shut up the whole rest of the game. He stopped his bullshittery. I'm a nice guy, but it took that one time. I waited through all the, okay, give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe, till the one time he absolutely bent the rules in his favor. I'm like, nope, absolutely not. Case closed. Shut the book. You're done. TO come over here and give an official rating. That way, if he ever tried anything else, he'd be going against the TO and he'd be out. So it's one of those things like I like to be friendly and be chill and chat. Again, I played with RK multiple times. You know, super friendly, but the second you cross that line, absolutely not. Done. Shut it down. You're out. But that's why he'd be like, oh, actually, I'm like, your opinion has no weight here. I was like, you've already lied to us once. You stay on your side. No one cares. I know it's very easy to say, you know, because it's like one-sided. The guy's not here to defend himself. I get that, but like, I have witnesses of that day. It's not just me. It was some bullshittery, man. Fucking Berlin, Jesus. Oh no, where'd I move my white to? It's just the white I've been using there. Yeah, you have no power here, cheater. That's exactly what it was. It was almost like that Rick and Morty meme where it's like your boos mean nothing. I see what makes you cheer. I was like, your rules dictate. I was like, your quotation of the rules mean nothing. I've seen you already cheat, so. I had to fight so politely at Malta to check the ambush at the end of the turn. What do you mean by that, RK? Oh, yeah. So I think it's a rule I misunderstood. I thought I could just shoot at the end of the turns. Like, no, you got to roll for it. I was like, oh shit, you know. So I was like, okay, cool. Hopefully, I was cool about it. I don't know. Elaborate on that, RK. Talk to me. What you mean? Oh, nice. The hidden rum still. Very nice. That's always on topic here. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I'm not infallible. I know I get rules wrong all the time. That's perfectly fine. This is during Prohibition. Okay, nice. Oh, even cooler. But yeah, no, I get rules wrong all the time. That's why it's one of the few rules I knew is how Recce or Reconnaissance worked. But yeah, no, I get rules wrong all the time. I'm happy to admit it. I think RK talking about the time I got ambush wrong. Well, to be fair, I think that was like that was our first game of 3rd edition bolt action. I think we got a shit ton of rules wrong actually. Also found out the importance of submachine guns. No, and absolutely, RK, like, I didn't mind that. Again, that's me personally. I didn't mind that at all, because I thought, I was like, oh yeah, this is clever. I can just choose what to shoot at the end. He's like, no. And I was like, oh shit. So, I don't know. Maybe he can keep me honest here. I like to think I was pretty chill about it. Maybe I wasn't. I like to think I was. But I have selective memory. You know, I'm biased. Yeah, that was a huge thing. I was like, oh shit, no. Like that changed. I was like, that changes everything. Yeah, because it was my my AT rifle I kept keeping on ambush. I think I did finally pop that in. I think he kept missing too. I think it finally hit something like in the later half of the game. No, but I'm glad you stayed on principle and held me to that, RK. Because I think if you know the rules, it's important. So I said earlier when that guy was doing like 3rd story ruins, I had no idea what he was. I was like, maybe that's a rule. I don't know. I don't play that much. But then when he was like Recce, I was like, oh hell no. No. I'm extremely. I know it doesn't seem like what the story's told, but I'm extremely nice, chill person. I like to think. I don't know. Could be my own craziness. Yeah, okay, that's a good point to like, yeah, not just take streamers at their word, but always double check and triple check the rules. Yeah, I'm happy to admit I definitely got the ambush rule wrong. I thought I could just like pop it at the ends. You know, I definitely should have misread that. Glad I learned. And again, I'm glad that was our first game of 3rd edition, so I knew for the whole rest of 3rd edition. I'm like, hey, that's not how ambush works. Because now I use ambush a lot, especially in Conflict 47, and same thing. I was like, okay, I just won't shoot this turn. No big deal. I'll just keep them on ambush. And it's not a huge deal. You just kind of keep them on ambush. So it's not like you're losing a powerful mechanic. So what we're doing now is we're kind of painting the stockings on the leg. Kind of cool. I think it's kind of a cool model. He used to Tiki Point. You guys are crazy. I actually think that was a pretty fun game. That multi game. That came down. That was a close. It's nice. It is nice though to get something from nothing before pulling the die. Yeah. That game was that's true. That game was the origin of the Tiki Point. Actually, he's exactly correct. And then they could continue to harass me about the Tiki Point at Clash of the Caribbean, the cheeky bastards. And I think most people have like 1 point over their 500 point list on purpose. It's hysterical. I loved it. But in all seriousness, I can't thank you enough for mentioning that, RK. I'm really glad you mentioned that. That I did get that thing wrong, because that kind of keeps me humble, keeps me honest. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely got that thing wrong. And I'll still defend my point until you like show me in the book, like, no, nerd, like here it is in the book. I'm like, oh shit, oh you're right, all right, my bad. And that's why one of the many reasons I show up. I have backpacks for each game. Like I have a bolt action Conflict 47 backpack, and I have a Warhammer 40k backpack, and they're filled with my books and like my dice and rulers and stuff like that. If I play rules, I bring the rules. Like I like having the rules in paper. Tiki actually changed my entire view on points limits. Yeah, that asshole's wrong. No. Hopefully not in a bad way. I know it sounds silly, or it might sound like false bravado, but I don't like to influence people. I just like kind of, if people are interested, I'll give like my side or my information, and I hope you come to determination on your own. So hopefully I don't like convince anybody or anything. I just give you like interesting information to kind of use as you see fit. But the change of viewpoints on points, huh? That's interesting. I'm not going to delete the stream. No, you're fine. If you notice, I put all the old streams back up on the channel. You can watch all the old Too Late Tonight with Tiki's. I even put out my other shorts from other games I did, like Carnivale, and I even did a video for D&D, like an intro, a narrated intro for the Curse of Strahd game. Nice. I'd always, if you don't mind, I'm going to read this out loud, RK. I'd always thought of having grace range of 5 points or less, but then you said if you have gone over, you haven't sacrificed enough. Yeah, and that's my opinion. Yeah, that means, I don't mean, oh god, this sounds bad. I'm not saying it's wacko or stuff like that, but it's like, hey, if the rules are, you can be under but not over, and you go 5 points over, that means that somewhere in the list, you haven't taken something. Yeah, it really does create its own. He's right. It creates its own mini game of lists. Like, oh man, I'm 5 points over. Like, what am I gonna lose? Do I lose like giving my officers Artard like rockets, or do I take away this submachine gun from this? But it's also exciting when you're like 4 points under. You're like, ooh, someone's getting a submachine gun. Now, what I think that comes from playing Warhammer 40k before there was free war gear. Now, nothing against free war gear. Same thing. I've been convinced. I've had good conversations with Squig Hunter Sean about this. About like, hey, they should bring back points cost of Warhammer 40k. This and that. He's like, hey, don't try and get other people to play a war game the way you want to. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. My bad. Bolt Action is a very regimented military style tabletop game, so it makes sense that there are points cost and force organization structures. That makes sense. Warhammer 40k has kind of gotten away from that over the years, so to try and bring back and reinforce a force org chart and actual points cost for war gear and stuff like that, it may not go well over with the community. They may like this very free flow, like, hey, you paid for the models, so take any kind of weapons you want kind of thing. I think that's now embedded in the 40k culture. So, you know, me trying to change that, that's not right, because I still have that in bolt action. But, you know, with 40k being the dominant tabletop war game, when you go into bolt action, people are like, oh, points cost. Okay, it shouldn't matter if I'm like 5 points over. You're like, oh, it matters greatly. You know, because that means you're trying to maximize your list. You're not staying within, you know, the rules of engagement, as it were, you know? So I think it can be a slippery slope. You start doing on that, you'll start like, oh, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. But yeah, that was just my opinion. Interesting to hear it change your mind. That definitely wasn't my intent, Arcade, but that's interesting to hear. But yeah, that's where the Tiki point comes from, because I was such a stickler about that. You know, so that's why they all purposely want 1 point over, which is humorous and funny, and I don't mind. That means somebody has like a pistol, like, oh, okay, that's funny. You know. So in case you guys are always curious what the story behind the Tiki point is, that's what it is. I've always been a very big guy about being like either at or under. Now, it's one of those things. Do I think some nuance? In my opinion, do I think some nuance is lost in 40k by having fixed cost? Yeah, because you'll not see suboptimal weapons being taken. But what's the alternative? Force people to take suboptimal stuff? That's not fun either. I don't know. It's tough. All I heard was blah blah blah. Tiki points are real. I think it comes down to, as long as you and your opponent agree on what you're playing, I think you're gonna have a good time. That sounds like a very trite, easy answer, like a cop out, but I think it's important. Because my first return game to Warhammer 40k was not what I expected. I communicated one thing, and my opponent's like, yeah, sure. We had totally mismatched expectations for that game. That was interesting. And while it was going on, we had a bolt action escalation league. And they were playing in the tables behind me, and they kept asking me questions, and I was like, man, I wish I was just playing bolt action. And also, I was playing an army that didn't fit me. I was playing as my orcs, which I like my orcs, don't get me wrong, but happy to admit I'm not an orc player. I love orc players. I think they're some of the coolest people in 40k. I wish I was. I can build orcs. I loved building orcs, you know. I'm not an orc guy. I don't think I have the aggression of it. It's just not my thing. I like being a sneaky guy, so I think GSC is very fitting. I like the militarism of the guard, but I like the sneaky beakiness of the GSC. And I've actually always, you know, so it's like, oh, I've always supported the, you know, we've never been at war with Eurasia. I've always liked the GSC, even back in 8th. It's just, you know, I had limited funds and I was already invested in my Imperial Guard, you know, and a little bit of Imperial Agents via Death Watch, so I wasn't gonna get a whole new Gene Stealer army, but I always kind of liked the look of them. And then finally I tried to start it in 9th. No one wanted to do a crusade, so I kind of gave up and sold. I think I sold the models off to Gene Stealer Bob, actually, what models I had. And then I came back at the end of 10th with my Gene Stealers, and been loving them ever since. Oh no, I got a joke. I thought it was funny. No, and I can't see that. So I tried to do a crusade, and like most crusades, I think it fell apart after like a month or two. I got super busy, and a lot of people got busy, and they stopped playing games. But the games we did play in the crusade, I thought were a lot of fun. Like you guys saw a couple streams ago, Brady was in here. He was chatting about a game he had. The missions were fun, and I played with Irish, and that playing that game at Warpfire with Irish. As you guys can see at the top of the screen, he's the last guy I played. I put my most recent opponent up there. Playing that game, I'll post pictures. I need to start doing posts, throughout the week. I'll post pictures from that game. Granted, my army's unpainted because it's 10th edition, but that game was so much fun. We built a super cool map. It was like an underhive. It was terrain dense. It was Crusade, so none of us wanted to really risk our models. We wanted to get experience and accomplish our missions, but with minimal risk, which is actually kind of militarily realistic. You don't want to just fight for no reason and just assume you get replacements. Like, we really didn't want to lose any guys. He was trying to catch up in the Crusade, so he really needed a lot of experience. So we were fighting super cagey. I'm talking like his little Deathstalker would like pop up and recover, like, laser beam a couple guys. He'd get hit with some plasma and he'd duck back down. He would send some Scorpic destroyers through this little gap in the terrain. I'd counter with some pure strange that they could get killed. That's fine because I could bring them back. And then I'd like chase them away with like two Bane Wolves and just start absolutely Kim Spring stuff like it's Manchuria in the 40s. So it was, and there was so much elevation to this table. Like, I had my Casterkins, they used their scout to get kind of up to the middle of the table. And they took these great spots of elevation and just started raining piss with like hot shot marksman rifles and plasma guns. And then they're up on top of the building top. So Necrons have guns. Spoiler alert. So the Casterkins start taking shots. They're like, oh shit, fall back. So they start retreating back into cover. Meanwhile, I'm starting to maneuver my other forces in there. And then here comes some Jackal bikers like running down a back alley, throwing grenades out there, doing mortal wounds. And they try and like turn away and they get caught out by some Scorpic destroyers who just cut them down. Yeah, it was a very, and we were just hooting and hollering, having a blast the whole time. And I know it sounds very Reddit, like, and then everyone clapped, but no. The tables around us were meeting for competitive, or what looked like, I shouldn't say competitive, match play 40k. And they had like the very stereotypical 10th edition terrain. And they were playing and they had like their little list. And I'm like, okay, here's this, here's that. And like, these guys had played like 2 or 3 games, and they're the same guys around us, and they just see us playing this one game, just having an absolute blast. And like 3 out of the 4 guys seemed cool, but as you know, there's always that one guy in each gaming group who kind of comes over and is like, oh, actually, you're playing the rules wrong. It's this. I was like, actually, it's a Crusade, so we have the kind of this stuff, and we're kind of like homebrewing some rules here and there. He's like, oh, okay, but it was pretty cool. I like that it got 4 guys who were playing 40k match play to be like, hey, what are you guys doing? When they saw that table, like, what is this? What is this? And they came over and looked at us like, oh, okay. It did help that Irish had some mother beautiful Necrons. He had the classic old school Necrons, like Goblin. I think he had like Goblin green bases. Oh, it was beautiful. I loved it. Like I said, and it's not, I don't think, nothing against Irish. Irish is a great guy. That's super, super great guy. And he's a good guy to play. But I think it was the table. I think it was the table and the mission we were playing that made it fun. I think that's what made it fun and pulled all the attention. So yeah, the table, I have some unpainted terrain. I have my Cyberpunk. It's made by Gale Force 9, who makes terrain for a lot of different games. They're like little Russian nesting dolls, but they're boxes, so they like kind of stack on top of each other to build buildings, or you can flip them upside down into the inside of a building, so you actually do like hallways and stuff. That's really cool, Commander HHL. That'd be really cool to do like a full cavalry build like that with motorcycle. I think there's a cool picture. Shout out to Zern Central. He just did a video on, I think, like motorized infantry, and he used one of my favorite pictures. It's a whole bunch of I want to say, I think it's like an American motorcycle training class, but it's a whole bunch of guys on Harley Davidsons in World War II, and they all have like Thompsons, So I always like looked at that as a cool idea for an army, like a kind of like Teddy's like volunteer cavalry, but in 40k. So they're kind of more like a space western, like out on a border planet, and they all have like bikes, So it's kind of like mounted rangers, if that makes sense, like Texas Rangers style. So they would have, you know me, I like having like bending my models and lore to fit each other. So they would have like, you know, drum fed auto guns or last pistols, you know. Yeah, you say you don't have to worry about motorbikes. You know, they shit less, but if they're BMW, they'll leak oil more than horses piss. So you know you got that going for you. All right, so we have the legs done. Let me turn down the brightness. I was tempted to do the stockings as blue, you know, but I didn't really like the way it looked in my head, so I'm kind of glad we went with the white. I think the white looks kind of cool. But now I'm worried how, since it has white stockings, or like leggings, I assume we couldn't have stockings, I guess like leggings, or like tall socks, so we have like white leggings all the way up. Now I'm kind of worried how white hair will look. So I think we may actually go with neon green hair. Man, how time flies. It's already almost 3. Look at that. Alright, I think we're going to finish up the skin on this model and call it a day and probably pick it up. I may paint some tomorrow before the stream, but we'll see what we're at tomorrow on the stream. Alright, he sent me a picture. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the Guardians conversions look good. I like the 4-wheeler guy having the shotgun. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I kept my bikes very non-Outlander claw. Like I'm keeping them very slick because I want to do kind of like a I want to do very like cyberpunk style like street racing bikes with like not a lot of like clutter or backpacks on them, so I'm saving the backpacks to like put on my tanks. So I like that I'm still getting uses out of the bits, but I love when people do them like actual like touring bikes with all the gear on it, stuff like that. I think it looks really cool. All right, it's coming together. The only funny thing is when you look closely at these models, the hands I use that I take off of the acolytes for their auto pistols are like a lot bigger than human hands. So it looks like a small, delicate human model. They have like these like ginormous, like they have like those like Hulk hand gloves on. It's actually kind of funny. Originally, I was painting the hands purple to kind of show that, you know, but I was like, let me hide that. You don't notice from far away, but if you pick up the model, if you look closely, you'll see these like giant, disproportionate, huge fucking Hulk hands. Cracks me up. What's cool is where I'm attaching these things. They're like the super glue kind of bunches up a little bit, and it leaves like a little, almost like a bracelet at the wrist, which is kind of cool because I can just paint that gold like it's jewelry. So it's like one of those little happy accidents, like trees, you know. Oh yeah, I like that picture. Yeah, that's one of my favorite little arms from that kit. That sawed off pistol grip shotgun. That's a good one. I like the Catachin riding the 4-wheeler. I'll let that focus. All right, so that's what we have so far. So yeah, for the faces, I don't do eyes or any of that kind of shit. I just dry brush it and Bugman glow, call it a day. Like I said, from 3 feet away, it looks decent, you know. Obviously, I gotta finish the jacket. There's a lot of the jacket I left unpainted just because I want to be able to get the skin tone in the one piece. So leather boots, black armor at the top of the boots, kind of like their knee pads are kind of like down around their ankles, which is a common thing. You know, like when you're actually like moving into a town, you generally like put your knee guards like at the top of your boots, and then you actually get in town where you keep having to go like prone and stuff like that. That's when you actually pull your knee pads up. So you still see like the leather jacket and stuff like that. Yeah, and all the neophyte leaders, they're all like these enforcer sergeants. They all have like the leather coats, the auto pistols, and the shock mauls. Yeah, yep, I got this one on Etsy. Yeah, a lot of these like custom models you see, they're all from Etsy. So they were super price effective when I replaced the actual characters, and then I got a few more to be like my neophyte leaders. Kind of make them stand out and look different, you know? Oh yeah, dude. Your bikers look awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate that. My approval shouldn't mean much, but I'm glad it carries weight with you, man. It's like when you're excited to paint them and you like the way you look to the point where you send multiple pictures. It's a good thing, by the way. It's a good thing. To the point where you're excited and you send multiple pictures, that's when you know you got something good going on. You know, you're excited to show it off. That's a good feeling. Again, that takes me back to the whole Daka days. Hey, what's going on, Still Unsure? Unfortunately, we're just about to end the stream. I'm sorry, brother. You caught us right here at the end. I'm gonna paint hair on this model, or I don't know. I'm going to no. I think I'm good for the day actually. Tell you what I will do though, because I'll let it go a few minutes over. I'll start priming the friend or foe panels on the tank. That's what I'll do. That way we can still chitter chat a little more. I know Dan Legion got a lot painted today too. That's fine. It's a time difference. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I know. I always stream at like the weirdest times in the world, but it catches some people just right, you know. Us late night shift people. And ironically, it actually helps me because in my work week, I shift from working mornings to nights. So doing these streams late at night in the middle of the week actually kind of helps me transition between the two. So I'm not going fully from like days to nights. I'm kind of like wandering in between. Ironically enough. Okay, so we are going to prep where we want the identification friend or foe panels on these Hellhound tanks. So like I said, we're doing the hatches here in the front. We're doing these stripes on top. We're doing these panels on the side. And we're doing these stripes in the back. We don't want too much purple on the tank. We want just enough for a quick identification. Only Damned Legion. That's still a lot, man. You're still a monster with painting. I love it. Let me crank up the light here so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, so because I primed this tank black, I'm actually going to go ahead and paint where we want our friend or foe identification white. And then what I do after that, I hit it with like 2 layers of Gene Sealer purple, and then I hit it with well, shucks, where'd it go? Oh no. Ah, wait, here it is. Yep. I hit it with this little purple shade. And that takes the very pastel jarring look of the Gene Sealer purple against like flat black. It makes it look it blends it a little bit better. And then what I do is I hit any vents. I'll hit those with like lead belcher, and then I'll hit it with Nolan oil. And then on the tracks, I hit with lead belcher, and then I'll hit them with Agrax Earthshade. So I'm only using a few different colors, but by using different types of shade, it kind of like makes them look a little different, if that makes sense. Now I know, this is a joke, by the way, for those who don't know. I could just pull the Morning Glory route and just paint it one color and just shade it one color and call it a day, but even my one color tanks have multiple colors. Just a joke. For those who don't know, I know Morning Glory a little bit, not like a bragging thing, like, oh, I know him. I mean, I chat with him every now and then sometimes, but I'm a fan of his stream, and we chat back and forth sometimes, and we give each other shit in a good way. Like, I'm one of the people he knows he can safely give shit to, no matter what it is. It doesn't bother me. Likewise, I'm happy to push back against like whatever current thing he's got going on. So it's a pretty fun little working rapport. I haven't tried oil washes yet. I have not tried oil washes, I'll say that. So this is what we're doing right now. We're just priming our friend or foe identification panels. Yeah, so I tried like 3 or 4 different camo schemes for these tanks. Some of my head were really cool, but they just weren't turning out the way I wanted to, likely due to user error and limitations of my own ability. So I decided to go back like Occam's razor and try and make this like simplistic. So I figured for like city fighting and reconnaissance, like instead of a camo, maybe just like a flat black would be kind of cool. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna do this with guard? I wouldn't want purple stripes everywhere, but like maybe just like a couple purple panels, you know, it's like quick identification would be kind of cool. Like the V17 high vis panels, we used to put it like on the hoods of our vehicles for like convoys and stuff like that. Kind of a similar concept, but instead of like like international rescue orange, we're doing purple. So that way, other people out there know that this is a 4-armed friendly vehicle, you know? 4 and 3-armed friendly. Don't hit it in the ass with a tread feather. But also, what'd you guys think of the song at the break? Let me know what you thought about that. It took a little while. It took like multiple attempts with the AI program, and a lot of like overwriting of lyrics, and I didn't think I was ever gonna get it just right. And like finally one actually popped. I was like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty cool. So yeah, those 2 panels, that way you can see it from the front and identify it, you know? Those on top, so you can see it from the top, in case you're like sitting down rockets from a rooftop. Oh, painting burners, huh? Nice. Yeah, so it's not a brag, please don't take it that way. But I heard Ludas and burner kits are like some of the harder ones to find, so I'm super glad I threw those in the box, brother, man. I'm still packing your next box. It's going to be a little bit bigger, and I think it's just going to be chock-a-block full of orcs. I have some more. Let me know if you want more vehicles. I know you're doing a freebooter army, so I don't want to like load you down with like a whole bunch of like speed wall style vehicles. But if you want some more vehicles, let me know. 3D printed ones. But otherwise, I'm just going to load that box down with bits and boys. He's like, yeah, there were a bunch of like burner. I do remember now. There was a shit ton of burner kits. Yeah, burners and trucks is gonna be nasty. Like I said, I know. Maybe I'm biased, but I for one am super happy that the orcs. It looks like the orcs gonna get a nice little boost. I'm looking forward. As long as it's a fun opponent and a good opponent, not just Johnny come lately and play the meta. But as long as it's like a cool opponent, dude, I'm super glad to play some overpowered orcs. That's gonna be hysterical. Yep, I have my Tiki Warlord that I'm keeping. I have the Rhino you sent me with the digital camo that I'm keeping. I have my 11 boys from Squig Hunter Sean, and then the only thing I'm keeping after that is just my commandos. Granted, it's like 40 commandos. It's a lot. But yeah, I'll send everything else to you. Yeah, it's one of those things where it feels good when your faction gets like that power buff, especially when you're not like a jerk and everyone knows that. Like I said, it happens in Bolt Action for a little while when Empire Japan finally got our codex and they gave us some unique cool stuff. Like I said, like the 2-shot AT rifle, which made sense because they were semi-automatic, you know. Now we were able to like put more bodies on our anti-tank, so we could have like a 4 or 5 person anti-tank rifle team. God, it was beautiful. Which was fun because I was playing it and everybody knew, you know, that I'm a Empire of Japan and IJA player. So it wasn't like, oh, he's just playing this because they're powerful. I'm like, yep, now's the time, because everyone knew the IJA got absolutely shafted at the start of 3rd edition for Bolt Action. They got taken out back and bent over the barrel and showed all 50 states. So when we finally got our Armies of book, it was time to increase the real estate of the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. I don't know why I said sphere. Nice, there's one panel there. And what's funny is I play a lot of Enlisted too, so when I played as the Imperial Japanese and that, I absolutely love the AT rifles. So it's so funny to bring those same Type 97 AT rifles to the tabletop. And just absolutely just started lighting people up with it. And they didn't even have 50 states back then. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, bent over the barrel and showed all 48 states and multiple territories. There you go. That'll teach me to make a modern day media reference. Oh yeah, Cosmic, I think you missed it. You weren't in the stream earlier, but Mordian got me. I was pulling the same chicanery stuff I was pulling with you, and he banned me. It was for a good while too. I don't know how long it was, because I was still banned by the time it was time for me to go swimming, so I just went swimming. But yeah, he banned me for a good amount for pulling the same kind of shenanigans I pull with you. I thought it was funny. Never. Larkin's a cool guy. I would never fight Mad Larkin unless I had to. I think he's a cool guy. I got no beef with him. So we have our panels in the front, panels on top, panels on the side. Oh, we gotta paint our other panels on the side. We gotta do our turret ones. Which is funny because I don't watch all the streams. Like I'm kind of like just in and out, so I think like I miss a lot of like the drama. So I don't know if there was like drama about that kind of stuff. So it seemed like he was actually not putting up with it that day. I was like, oh, something must have happened in a previous stream. You just figure out the hands. Just take away his sunglasses. Yeah, it's funny, as I'm rereading all the Gaunt's Ghost books, I'm on my favorite book now. I'm on my actual favorite one, Guns of Tanith. And it cracks me up that my army is basically just like a regiment of coups. And it makes me laugh. I forgot who it is, but somebody was talking about how they have a heavy weapons team that's like try again, brag, and coup as its loader. I was like, ooh, that's dirty. Funny, but dirty. Some say under sunglasses, another pair of sunglasses. Just hit him in the blue balls. That's a good one. Yeah, that's basically what this little Necro. And I started the audiobook for so before I started Guns of Tanith, because I know how that story goes. I've read it a million times. It's gonna be exciting to listen to it on Audible and see how some of the stuff's pronounced, you know, and how they do the voices. I'm excited to see what the accent. I'm really excited to see what the accent of the Fantine Skyborn are. I was surprised when they went with Russian for the Vag Heist people, Varunhive. I didn't think they'd be Russian. So the ghost being Scottish, that was dead on. I got that. But yeah, Varunhive being Russian, I didn't see that one coming, but I'm like, okay, I can see that. That's fine. Don't ruin it for me, I swear to God. But I'm excited to see what Fantine's gonna be. I'm hoping with them being a refinery planet and a lot of like air power, I'm hoping it's just like an obnoxious American accent, like that transatlantic fake Hollywood accent. I think that would be cool. Or yeah, nice Jersey accent. That would be funny. Or like Billy D. Williams and Bespin Cloud City. There's like a very like laid back, super chill kind of thing. Shit, what were we talking about? Oh, I'm so sorry. I got distracted by my own story. I was reading. I started the Audible of Kim Dogs. I want to say it is. It's one of the newer books. It's about the Savlar Kim Dogs. Now, there's a short story that I need to go on Warhammer.com and download because I feel like the book starts in the middle of fucking nowhere, you know. And I think there's a short story that describes the whole main character and the unit before the shit happens. But what's funny is in the beginning they're talking about how a commissar, like a planet's getting taken over by orcs, and a commissar was trying to like hide something in a I'm not ruining anything, by the way. It's the beginning of the book. Trying to hide something in a safe, but they can't get to it, you know. And then it transports to another base, and a Lord Commissar is sending a junior commissar to go with a unit of Savlar Kim Dogs to attack that place that the orcs took over before the main army, so he can find that thing in the safe. Very like early Gaunt's Ghost style books, right? He's like, yeah, you need to get there before, you know, the guardsmen or the Mordians is like, or God forbid, the damn Necromundans. I was like, yeah, reference for stealing shit. I love it. I love it. But yeah, the guy's gonna lead Savlar Kim Dogs. It's already started pretty well. I like it. That's probably one of my other guard regiments. If I was ever to do like an actual guard army and I couldn't do a Fantine Skyborn, I would probably do like a Savlar Kim Dog. But to be honest, I'd probably do it as a Gene Stealer, like Outlander Claw style, you know? A lot of bikes. I would mix Jackals with whatever kind of Rough Riders the Imperial Guard still has and just put them all on bikes. And run them like historically like they used to do mounted crossbowmen as just like not doing full-on cavalry charges, but just like a harassment, you know, just use a bunch of guys as light cavalry just to harass the lines. Oops, sorry about the camera there. All right, we got our other panel done. So that's why I'm glad we're doing the backup lower side panels on the bottom, because that top panel is kind of covered by the Hunter Killer. Same thing, yeah, the tank is from Etsy, and the Hunter Killer missile is also from Etsy. I got like a package of 5 of these little missile tubes. You know, it's pretty cool. That's why I also feel bad. A lot of people complain about like GW prices, and they're not wrong, but I don't buy a lot of pure GW products. I will every now and then. Like I said, I bought 2 starter boxes for GSC. Or no, I'm sorry, I bought 2 combat patrols, right? And I bought a what else did I buy? I bought a Brood Brother Kill Team box. That was actually, I got a deal on that one. That was on sale. And I just got a Necromunda House Escher box and an upgrade box. Everything else I've just picked up secondhand on eBay or Etsy. All right, let's paint the ash stripes and we'll be out of here. So we'll conclude this midnight drive. Ride or die, yeah. Yeah, go back and look at like mounted crossbowmen, or what's really cool is look at the prevalence of oh no, the term is leaving me. Wheel lock, thank God, there it is. Go and look up wheel lock firearms. You know, in between matchlocks and flintlocks, there are wheel locks, and look at a wheel lock cavalry, which is kind of cool because they had wheel lock pistols. And the cavalry basically moved in wheels or circles, kind of like the old Mongolian mounted archers. They were just like this amazing. It was knights with guns, and it was like a really cool period of time. They were pretty damn effective too. Yeah, wheel lock firearms never get enough love. Of course, they were insanely expensive at the time. Naturally, that's my style setup. Full plate armor, wheel lock firearms, shooting peasants. That's my style setup. Yeah. Oh yeah, Age of Sail combat super interesting. Like crossing the T and stuff like that. Was so super cool. As far as shows, I think Black Sails did a good job of showing naval combat. That was pretty good. All right, so we got some of our neophyte leader painted. I think she's looking pretty cool, looking pretty groovy. And we got our Hellhound based, and we got the friend or foe panels primed, which is nice. Not a good naval landing. No. You could tell it's like many other shows. Like it starts really good. You could tell it just like peters off and they lose their writing and technical support. Yeah, that's absolutely not what a naval landing should look like. Alright, and with that brings us to the end of this midnight drive. We had fun. Like I said, we chitted, we chatted, we painted. It's the objective of the stream. We told some funny stories, which is kind of cool. More importantly, we told about fun games in the past. Times I've gotten rules wrong, times other people have gotten rules wrong. You know, no one's infallible, which I do appreciate. Awesome shout out to RK for that one, of course. We also talked about some ideas to kind of bring back, like, kind of fun to 40k. You know, just because it's 11th edition doesn't mean we have to, like, be kind of crazy about any of the rules or anything about that. I'm also trying to do something else where, in case you just woke up or in case we have different time zones and you're looking to continue to paint and chill, I'm going to try and always leave you with a channel to watch some videos, you know, that we can keep painting and chilling and stuff like that. So this channel is actually a good friend of ours. This is friend of the channel, pal, and non-combatant, Mad Larkin. So that's Mad Larkin's channel. If you're looking to paint some more and watch some more videos, there's some videos to watch there on Mad Larkin's channel. Give it a check out, see if you like it. Tell him I said hello. And thanks again for joining. We had another good stream. We got some painting done, and we continued, hopefully, to strive towards bringing back a chill wave to 40k. So, as always, stay safe, stay hydrated, and don't forget to relax today, because you're on Tiki time.